And welcome back to the Pinnacle Cup. We're getting into our last series of the day. Well, it's been a very long day, but definitely one that will conclude with an interesting matchup between HAVU and ENCE. Usually the old Classico of Finnish CS. I guess you can't call it that anymore because ENCE are not really a Finnish team at this moment. But we do know that for HAVU, they've historically always loved the idea of beating their main organizational rivals in the space. So I'm looking forward to see how well this match will go for them. Although there are some caveat points, I guess, to discuss in this particular game. But before we do get into that, of course, do want to bring up to date with the brackets so we can give you the updated example of how things have played out as of right now. So as you can see, we will confirm for you that Skater moved on to take on the Forza side in that lower part of the bracket. Fiend obviously moved in earlier today against the Young Ninjas. So the CIS squad's all involved with the Bulgarian squad. So could be a clash of either CIS or Bulgaria in that respect in the semis, Dweg.
I'm really hoping we either get the CIS derby or the Bulgarian derby. Don't really care which one it is. As long as it's one of them and not split halfway down the middle, we're going to have one hell of a semi-final.
Absolutely. Well, the fourth semi-final between Endpoint and ENCE or HAVU is yet to be decided. Of course, Copenhagen Flames beat Mouse NXT a little bit earlier on today. But again, our final match will be the final of that round of 12, HAVU and ENCE. A matchup that, again, has always been very interesting from history's sake. But I wonder whether or not it'll be interesting this time, Dweg. I want to start with HAVU in this discussion because I think that me and you have had a lot of criticisms around this side, in particular the roster issues that they've had as of late. They've still not got an official fifth, so they're playing with their coach essentially standing in is like it's not standing in, but you know, being their fifth until they can find a decent player, and it feels like they're just kind of holding out until the up until the player break where they can find a new player to fit into this roster. But I think it's affected their performance so massively lately.
Yeah, without a doubt. And knowing that it's been this long since they benched Yemi and their coach has been standing in only tells me from a standalone perspective that something was so wrong there, because it would have been so much more effective just to have Yemi in and then get to the player break. Okay, we're going to get an upgrade. We're going to get someone else. But if you're making a change like that and your coach is standing in for over a month, it shows that something was not right and changes need to be made. And unfortunately for HAVU, they started this year with a cracking lineup, a great bunch of guys that was really doing well. They were winning championships. They were having deep runs. That is not the HAVU in the present day.
Absolutely. Like, you know, the HAVU that I sort of think about is the team that's sort of topping the Eliza circuit, for example. Like, those guys have been amazing in that particular run of tournaments, but even the tournaments they've been placing against, like, you know, I'm not sure they'll be able to hold a candle against the likes of ENCE here, who are such a powerful squad of international players. You know, we've got Hades and Dia, who are two individuals who we've known very well from the Polish squad, some veterans in Snappy, Spinks as the breakout star. There's a lot of potential behind this lineup. I don't think they've been able to fulfill it as of late, but I also look at this match and I think to myself that they could probably be able to pretty easy dispatch of someone like a HAVU.
I'd disagree on that point. I think that they are showing their full potential, or at least have been showing some really good results. They've been winning a lot of events. They've had some really deep runs. It seems like the only losses they're taking is against like tier 1 opposition or some very, very close games. Other than that, since they brought Hades into the lineup, their win rate has been probably the highest in any team in tier 2 right now.
Yeah, and I think that the Hades move in particular was always really fantastic for them. I was a big fan of him back when he was part of Vista Krakow, and he was definitely a standout player when he was brought in place of Alu, and definitely I hope it's a permanent addition for the foreseeable future, because he has been a hell of a player, and I think it'll be a hell of an element here for ENCE versus the likes of HAVU. Map picks coming up on screen in our best of 3. HAVU going straight to Dust 2. I don't like picking Dust 2, but I guess it can sort of make to a certain amount of sense when you're trying to pull off an upset map. It is one of their most played in the pool as well. Nuke coming in from ENCE and Overpass will be our decider. Dwayne, what do you make of that?
Well, Dust 2's been played, or at least picked, 4 times out of the 5 best of 3s the HAVU have played so far in the main Swiss stage. We know that they picked it against ENCE in the last best of 3 and 16-0'd them. So in terms of Dust 2, it's their bread and butter for the HAVU side. Makes a lot of sense. Nuke coming forward for ENCE as well. Another strong map for them in the pool. Going towards Overpass, the finale. Outside of Dust 2, everything looks pretty good here for ENCE.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, I'm not a big fan of Dust 2 from like a general standpoint of perspective, or in terms of like, you know, like just the fundamentals of a pick like that. But if it works for HAVU, then it works at the end of the day. And we know that earlier this year, in the last few months, they had a 6-map winning streak above teams like Fiend and Entropic and ENCE in the past. In fact, the last time they faced off against them, the ENCE side on this map, it was a 16-0. So I can expect this one to be a solid map pick. But again, I'm sort of looking at this one, I think to myself that Nuke and Overpass, they probably are ENCE maps.
Yeah, Probably so. For HAVU, the one caveat for them, or at least the one element of this team we've seen in the recent last month or so, we never know what HAVU we're going to get. Are we going to get the team that really shows, really delivers, makes it a close series, or the one that just gets battered because they beat Fiend in the third round and then got absolutely slammed by Skate? And you think, hang on a minute, how do you easily beat Fiend but then just get absolutely wrecked in the next round? It's one of those for HAVU where they could just have up and down performances like there's no tomorrow.
We talked a little bit about that on the likes of Skate, where obviously there could be championship winning material. I don't think that HAVU can be that on their own day. I think they can be a capable squad. So I wonder which HAVU we're going to be seeing in this one. And again, I don't really think that I can. I don't really think that we can predict HAVU as the confidence series winners. Obviously, the odds of Pinnacle favour ENCE heavily, but I'm going to go 2-1 to the HAVU side. I think they can win Dust too, but I think that ENCE should be able to trounce them on Nuke and Overpass.
I'm going to go 2-0 for ENCE, to be honest. I feel like they might be able to show some consistency here on Dust 2 and be able to just elevate themselves from that last performance. Dotto going very aggressive up towards a short position. Fairly silent so far for the T's.
Mason taps forward on the part of Dotto. Looking for that first pick back, but can't quite seem to get the headshots or even any of the tags involved. Just Dia down to 88 and Sturb down to 73. Careful placement as HAVU do walk up to that mid control. 2 CTs to receive him.
Just the off angle coming through from Snappy straight away. He's going to gather that information. Got a couple of nades to work with, but for the most part, not getting pressured a massive amount.
Flashes at the ready as well to allow his teammates to start peeking in. They hear the footsteps down and around that corner. First flash involved. Dia's not going to peek from it. He's at the scaffolding. Waiting, tapping forward. Player being seen and player being found. First frag of the matchup goes the way of HAVU. Spinks going to try to respond towards it, though, and the back line's held so far passive and can't really do much here. Pinned in a corner, dealt with by Aerial. 5v3 for HAVU in the post plan.
What an excellent pistol, just to be able to work out mid to B, get Aerial just flying into the side, dealing with Dia pretty much quickly. Spinks the same, and for ENCE, they might as well just look for a couple of exit kills, but there's no way this retake's on.
Yeah, got to get out, dodge, fall away. Save what they got. Again, get that pistol on the board for the HAVU side. At least a bit of Kevlar will aid them in the force bite going into round 2. So that's a bit of a bonus alongside the defuse kit if they have to go for retake. We've seen many great force bite rounds on Dust 2 so far today, Dwayne. So don't count them out just yet. One pick back does get found by Snappy, but now going to hold himself back over towards Goose. Looks like that all players will just be able to stay alive just about for the CT side, and Snappy gets another good kill back. So a little bit of a response back, but again, no round.
Well, a bit of a fun fact about HAVU is that going into this matchup in the event so far, they were 27th out of 28th placement in terms of pistol round percentage. 25% of pistols they've won so far. 6 wins and 18 losses in the Pinnacle Cup. At least is a positive note to start off that it wasn't a loss, and in fact, it was a victory in the pistol.
Positives all around in that respect. Now we're going to focus on the conversion, because again, ENCE have full sport. The Eagles in, Scout out for Snappy. Mac 10's Zori will be the first contact facer. Can he drop in on Spinks or Dotto and deal with them? Possible for Dotto, again, he's not got the helmets involved. He's one of 2 players that haven't got helmets involved. A couple of limitations in that respect, but everybody else should be fine against the SMG.
It's been quite slow and passive so far from HAVU. A bit of a walkout for the mid doors. They are starting to make a couple of the footsteps. There is a player close of Diha.
Smoke in, flash over, Deagle tap in, and gets nothing for it. Disturbed. Frag found pretty easy. Nade's back. X7 taking some damage. But B site's completely open. They had no defenders there whatsoever. And for ENCE, again, it's going to have to be a save call to maintain a little something going into the eco.
Yeah, it comes down to the misread, really, for ENCE. They've kind of stacked up a little bit more heavily out to the A side. D is the only point of call and doesn't even get away with a one-on-one trade. So for HAVU, simple second round. ENCE, they'll bring at least a fair bit going forward into the next, but there's even a little bit of a hunt swarm coming in.
Spinks. And one more response back, but only a Mac 10 the drop on Slowy's part, so it's not really much lost for the T side line. And yeah, this should be a 2-0 start for HAVU. Thinking maybe Zori can farm up a bit more cash, get this yet. Mac 10 involved, but just that $600 might be more than fine here for the T's. Again, they can buy back on Slowy, maybe drop in a weapon. Not much to be found by ENCE as well in this next one. The 2 players that fell down to USPs. Those upgrades just saved him for another good.
And We all like a second chance, don't we, Jay? We know that for HAVU, they got eliminated in main Swiss. They went down 2-3, lost their Swiss round 5 game up to Entropic, but got another opportunity with a couple of the 3-0 teams going straight towards the quarterfinals, allowed space to be open for HAVU to come back.
Couple of nades on towards X7. Do some damage early again for the CT side line. A great start here. It was round 3 for them, but it's not a kill at least, so it's not man advantage for ENCE. Still have players pushed up pretty far for the HAVU camp, but it's been a very, very quiet and passive setup from the T's. Happy just to sit pretty and wait here.
That's a very different stylistic point of view from what we saw in that last game between Skate and Entropic on Dust 2 in particular. It was a little bit more pacey for the Bulgarians, a little bit more just dry fights, where for HAVU, it's all about just running the default, slowing the clock, and just trying to give advantages on some of the map presence being taken.
First frag found by the T side as Hades and Dotto will get cleaned up by Disturbed. And Co. Zori turns on towards the Mac 10, so 1 trade is available, 2 trades available actually for the Eagles involved for Snappy and Spinks, so 2v3. I don't think it turns into a comeback or a retake from here. No real potential in the Mac 10. Actually, I guess low HP for X7 and Aerial, so in theory there's potential for the Mac 10, but same can be said for the Eagles, and HAVU not going to give up the ankles.
And just in terms of experience too, outside of Snappy, every single player on ENCE is younger than the youngest player on HAVU of Slowy. So it's always something to consider, like how these Finnish guys have been around in the scene for a very, very long time, have played at the higher levels too. You just have a look at how X7 and Aerial played on ENCE and played at a tier 1 level for quite a while.
Yeah, we know that there's that organization connection for those guys. Obviously, when they were added to this roster, when they were brought in to the HAVU side, they were like such a big deal for HAVU, because they essentially added 2 of the best Finnish players that the scene had to offer. Dominated Finland and started to have a bit of a resurgence, as you mentioned before. The start of the year was so fantastic for HAVU, and in no short effort, thanks to them. Good start in for this map up for HAVU for now. 3-0 looking to the first gun round, but damage has been sustained by Disturbed early.
Yeah, that early long contact wasn't really too successful for the T side at all. Bit of a flash over for Aerial to peek up from the Xbox position, just make sure that no aggression's coming through. But for the most part of ENCE, they're playing quite passive. We're not seeing many aggressive duels being taken. So in terms of information being gathered, all they've got is a player out from long in pair.
Sitting there waiting for contact on that long presence, but HAVU haven't really gone for it. Pressed up mid and short, but been so lackadaisical about taking this part of the map that they're focusing on the tunnels entrance, and I think ENCE got a decent read because of that. Smoke down at the right moment there from Dia. Just hold them back and wait 40 seconds to the clock.
And it seems like just going to be a bit of lurk utility, try and see if they can hold them at B, but that resmoke is actually going to start pulling HAVU for a bit of misdirection, possibly up towards a short position now.
Third man watching from the mid, controlling the 2-1-2 split. M4 takes his face. X7 deals with Spinks immediately, and now just to run out mid to B here. The AWP trying to adjust as Hades and Dio do get a couple. Disturbed finally dealt with players way too close, however, in the 8K. Dotto still trades him, and it's all left to Zori. 10 seconds, the bomb's been dropped. He's got no chance on the round. He knows it. Got to save the AWP. It's a first for ENCE.
It's just so slow. It's so slow here on T-side. And it comes to a bit of a moment where even with that pick out from X7 from mid, great opportunity. Great way to be able to isolate the first pick. You don't have the time to work the bomb site. You don't have the time to cut off rotations. Instead, it just gets so chaotic. And for Hades, he just holds his ground out from ramp, follows up with a couple, has a bait and switch with a teammate with an M4. And from there, just a few kills pretty much decided the whole round.
Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward one there for the likes of HAVU. Orcs out for Hades again, going to try face forward, had the perfect angle on the area, but just couldn't pull the trigger in time. Start out for the T side as a kill is secured on a big green. Can get recovered for a double orb setup now for HAVU. Dotto boosted up to the site. They're not going to waste any time with this hit here. HAVU just full sending up here. Slight gap on the right-hand side of that smoke. Can't be exploited by the M4. Let's get caught by Aerial instead with his spray back. 3 players remaining here for the CT side. And HAVU establishing their dominance in this. But Dotto is at least finding trades here. 1 player. Slowly close. Caught second kill. Not quite.
Just an excellent change of pace. It's exactly what HAVU needed. They've kept it very slow. They've kept it very tight. All of a sudden, it's more pacey. It's more aggressive out from long. Hades gets caught off straight away. That's the last thing you want for your main orb boost, to lose that opening fight. Sping's just hoping for another rifle, get that M4 in, but he could even get hunted.
Yeah, probably not a good idea for HAVU to do that, considering the money's not quite there for them. So just build up the economy basis. Time is way too short as well, and they're not going to go for the hunt in the end. They'll just wait for the exit frag positions at the pretty passive angles at CT, at top mid, at spawn. So Spink should hold on to this weapon at least. That's something to be gained. HAVU with that 4th, however. And is the main bottom line here.
That's a little bit frustrating too for ENCE to try and just get a read on the scenario that you have a very slow early portion of the map and then you just get rushed in a rifle round and it just breaks the economy. It breaks all the momentum that you gain to gain that first. And for HAVU, it hasn't been the easiest of times at all on T side, but 4-1 in terms of the scoreline, they're in a very good position.
Really nicely done so far for the HAVU T-side line. And again, it is a T-side of Dust 2. Damage done to X7 here with the nades out for ENCE, and they haven't got a lot to work with in terms of the firepower potential. Hades dealt with immediately as a result of that. Aerial and Slowly continue tapping and finding picks out towards CT and towards that short control. AK, the rifle that they had there was dropped, of course. Picked back up by D as part of the M4. Still can stay into the next round, but it's not going to have much effect here for the rest of this one. 5-1 to the board of HAVU and ENCE. Very conservative and passive game coming in from them. You can kind of say the same thing about HAVU as well.
Yeah, you can. It seems that they're not fighting fire up against the passiveness. They're instead just sort of adapting, I guess, to the playstyle of their opposition, keeping it slow themselves, trying to keep that M4 in play the best that they can. X7's got a nice little angle up from T-Spawn, who could drop the M4.
Exit frags. Dia does get that 1 kill back, and to grab an AK as well could be pretty important. But I think he wants to hold passive and try not to give up the kill towards the T-side line. That's going to cost him because he could get killed off towards tunnels. That's exactly what happens. If only he hid behind car. Ah, well. 5-1 for HAVU. ENCE can buy.
Getting into a situation where it seems that both in this series and in the last one, opening starts, strong starts in terms of momentum, in terms of scoreline advantages has been very important. ENCE going to take the tactical. They're going to run double orbs, but they just need a bit of a moment to just take a breather.
I think at this stage I kind of need to, because they have been a bit of a shock to the system, honestly. Not quite the way that the ENCE side wanted it to go, so tactical pause to take that moment. A moment to remind you all about Trusty. Remember, when speed is the name of the game, don't let your playing experience be disturbed by slow payments. Use Trusty to make your payments flow quick from account to account. No cards, no download, no registration at all. Yeah.
Did you slide in the disturbed there for the HAVU coach? Was that a intended thing?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was?
Well
even better, mate. I love it.
Done.
I love it.
Well done. Well done on catching it, honestly. I didn't think anyone would receive, but well done.
Mate, I catch it every time. Anytime there's something like that, I just recognize it. HAVU, do you recognize? He's just waiting for a shoulder bait, just waiting for the early contact.
Well, ENCE have been good with these reads so far, and you can see Hades is set with the AWP above that smoke. Utility down, player walking out of it. Unfortunately, it does put attention back into the A play, but Hades is still holding with that AWP, with utility being thrown out. Secondary AWP also on the crossfire. Dia with 1 frag. Slowly trades him. Hades still close to sight, though. Point blank against the bomb carrier. Gets that frag in. Continues to round the corner. Deal with Disturbed, but Zori trades it back, and now's got a clutch on a 3K. 1v2. Moves up to the window. Looks back at CT Spawn, but the M4's expecting him to go to this position, and they get the kill for it. So ENCE hold on to the second round.
And that's the Hades I've come to see today. That one right there. Beautiful bait and switch out of the doors itself, just to have that secondary or post on the contact. But the way that he just doesn't get flustered, doesn't get pressured out on the side, play behind big box, and gets away with a couple of kills, he makes it look so easy.
Watch the sequence again from Hades. Brilliant stuff from him. So close and so pressured as well. Tactical did quite the wonder of work here for ENCE. Unfortunately, Hades cannot replicate from that last round. Killed off immediately by slowing into the mid control. One CT's out there to try and deal with the man, but Aerial can double up alongside Slowy. 5 on 3. Famar still left in play. Orp trying to look for a frag out towards that mid position, but so far so little is gained here by ENCE.
It just seems that if they get early man advantages, pace is sort of their best friend. Even out towards this long position, Disturbed is waiting for the over-aggression. What a beautiful return for HAVU. And for ENCE, it just seems all they can win is individual rounds, isn't it?
Feels like Entropic from that previous series as well, doesn't it? ENCE having a really, really difficult time about this. Got to save these weapons because there's no money, no loss bonus. Not really much to work with at all here against HAVU, and you can understand now why they play passive in these rounds, because HAVU are just trouncing them. And again, it is T-side line, so there is that element of when the half switch can come through, ENCE could potentially bring it back, but if they let a one-sided scoreline go, then they're going to have no breathing room to bring the comeback.
It's definitely better than the last performance on Dust 2 for ENCE, but I sort of looked at this, and HAVU and ENCE are one of the matchups in terms of the head-to-head where the veto is just so readable. You just know which way it's going to go, and I honestly thought that Snappy was going to do a little bit more homework, a little bit more anti-stratting into this one, but it just seems, again, they're just struggling up against HAVU. They've not found a massive amount of success at all, and it really seems that in the 2 rounds that they've won, someone has got to make a massive play, otherwise the rounds just not being converted.
And you can't always rely on individuals to pop off like that. ENCE had their individual moments. X7 will find the first pick on Dia, though. Immediately take the Orb out with extreme prejudice. Once again, to grab that Orb and turn it back in. Can he get that off to Hades, perhaps? That might be their best port of call, but looking out towards mid as the short aggression comes out for the CTs. Meanwhile, HAVU continue to hold down the long presence. The rotation stack will be inbound here for ENCE.
At the same time, you probably want to try and hold both the AWP and the M4 in play, so you might even just give him the respect of giving up the A site, looking for a couple of exit kills, but not really wanting to go in for the retake.
Snappy pressing closer to the gap in that smoke to work with. X7. Ooh, just jump across it. Nice call, well done. Evades information. His teammates still got across somehow. M4 Spinks here at Gandalf, and Snappy spams away with the 5-7, gets nothing for it. Hades does though on the backstab. Dealt with by Aerial to return. M4 Spinks finally strikes back, gets 2 kills, 35 seconds. Swing back for the triple, not quite as successful, but 2 versus 2 with the Orb boosted up. He catches X7 next up, and it's all Aerial. 1 on 2 for his own right, sees both players. 2EK. It's Volvadotto for his 2 frags of his own right, and a 3rd round to the board of ENCE.
It's a surprise, really, when you look at that circumstance. It's just an eco, it's a couple of saved-in rifles, and it comes away being a very successful round in the end. They put a lot of pressure out towards those cross smokes. Spinks in particular, his play out and get right just on the A site itself was pretty much just the round winner, because it slowed it down, dropped the bomb, wasted further time, and just allowed that boost up for the Orb.
That was pretty much the round winner right there and then. Try to boost the Orb up again here for Hades, or the M4 will just take face against X7, deal with him first and foremost. Other Orb to continue holding a bit of a tight angle, or they can just both fall back, which I guess kind of work for the ENCE playstyle. Again, they've been so hyper passive in this matchup. And they're going to focus on this mid defensive here. They cannot afford to fall away, especially as Dia goes down back to a 4 versus 4.
A lot of damage done onto the nade, but now mid has just been completely lost. Flash comes in. Oh, great peek coming through for Snappy. And Speaks is aggressive in the upper tunnel, seeing nothing.
Utility inbound. Zori. Molotovs in, Orb set for the collateral, not gonna happen. Hades with the incendiary back to the right-hand side instead with a smoke down as well. Disturb caught for damage, 42 points of health. HAVU struggling the first end of the site as Aerial does get his one trade back in. Disturb wraps the corner, sees two. Hades still deals with it. Aerial left alone. And Tech9 of Sorry taps up two players and now looks for the bomb plot one-on-one.
Oh, it all just comes down to the reposition. Does he look out towards that long position? Spinks coming in quickly.
Orb for your battle. Smoke on the site to cover him off at that long presence. He's gonna peek out of it. See his man, but not connect the shot. Get away from dodge. Flash also involved. Looking back at Car. Spinks. Look out the position. Smoke down. Not seeing his man, not catching anything in this round. He's got to regress. He's got to grab one of those kits. Seen back in Zori. Gets his 3K. Zori are not a winner, boys. It's 7 for HAVU.
A very well played, unbelievably well played round there from Zori. Hades out on the side, struggling to find too many connections. Very dry on the approach up from short, but the Tech9 just rounded the corner, getting a couple of instant headshots and even having the confidence to fight for the information up against Spinks to just give himself the perfect advantage.
Oh, how wonderful was that? The Tech9 play, like out of to be that up close. HAVU take a tactical time out. Wouldn't call it the right time to do so, but then again, to calm expectations and try and read where ENCE are going to be at here. 4 spies involved. We can keep it updated as well with the Pinnacle map win predictions tracker. Currently favoring HAVU 64% to win this map up, so head over to pinnacle.com/odds to get the latest playing offerings for this game. Right now, they do have HAVU at the favorites at this moment in time. Whether the money line reflects that, we'll have to find out. For now, it's 4 spies.
There's some nades out towards that B side, trying to see if they can bait in some over-aggression, bait in as many counter nades as possible from that city side, Hades in particular. But this Force Invest, I want to say it's a swing round here for ENCE. They lose this, they just lose so much complexion, really, of Dust 2. They allow HAVU to start running away with it, get closer and closer to double digits. So it's definitely not do or die. It's only round 11, but this round has so much importance behind it for ENCE.
Sprays back and forth for the AKs and the M4. Hades. Set and ready to hold a contest in the mid control, and there is a large amount of T-side force that's forming up here, so you can imagine that pressure to deal with them all here. M4 back behind the boost box, but still seeing nothing.
He's not getting flashed off at all, just being able to create that angle for himself, looking to follow up, can't quite do it.
Walk out towards the mid to B play, 2 players on the B site itself. You're coming in from short to try and flank in against the Galil out here. Disturb does get that 1 frag. Dia can trade it. So, 3 on 3, making it 2 as Spinks Deagle lands out towards Car. Going to keep ducked down as the Galil faces forward. Zori gets credited with the kill. 2v2, and now they've got to get some backup in, but Spinks still landing the headshots. Can't focus on Slowy, unfortunately dealt with, but damaged up, low HP, and Dia can get the wall bang to finish the job. Clutch it with the 2K and get that 4 for ENCE.
Oh, boy. It is so sweaty between these two teams. Spinks just playing out from Car, waiting for Dotto to have his cross. He just gets instantly domed. The Deagle out from Spinks, just trying to hold for as long as possible, allow that rotation to come through from Dia. And now this kind of makes the economy a bit awkward for HAVU. They're on 1900, but they don't have enough for a buy, so this is going to have to just be a harsh eco for them.
Another tactical coming in for ENCE. SMGs, AKs, M4, Scout. This is what has to be, as you mentioned, the eco in for HAVU. Can't do much with this one. You got to take it on the chin, I feel.
Damn, I will say, Saw, the coach of ENCE, I don't know what webcam they've hooked him up with, but out of everyone's, his is the sharpest. I like that.
You might be rocking the same cameras that we do, Doig.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
a possibility. Spend $1,000 on on a webcam.
It's all about getting the picture of the coach.
Yeah, mate. Not the players, but the coach. The coach is the most important man of the entire operation, isn't he?
Of course, absolutely.
Well, sell it to Simple and see what he has to say. But Deagle's in, pistols out, SMG burst 3 for Dotto, gets X7. $600 frag instantly in this kind of a eco round. There is a bit of heavy investment from X7 and aerial. And kills back in with Dotto, 3 frags, 4 frags, and it does feel like an eco at the end of the day, so not much that he can do in this 1v5 for Slow. He does get his good shot off. Flash over, trying to peek in for a bit more position, but can't see anything of the CT side. They are really close towards him. Trying to isolate every single headshot, but it's not landing on that one. Good flick to Dotto, but he ends up with the ace. Bursting through, easy SMG, AK picked up and all.
Yeah, nicely done. And that was double eco status, really, for HAVU when they did invest in the way that they did. So they'll have to eco again.
Okay,
and
all right.
I believe that that is now the second ace we've seen. Diha had an ace in the main Swiss stage. It may have been up against Sinners. I'll have to try and look back on it. But Dia's already had an ace. Now we've got another one.
ENCE just stacking up aces.
Yeah.
Stack up to the ace of spades. Kind of like HAVU's logo, but just, you know,
Yeah,
a little bit more
similar.
solid. It does look similar, doesn't it? Oh, no aces here for HAVU. Spinks with 2, Hades with 1. Stats to show exactly how well HAVU's individual duels have been going. Some very one-sided fights being won by these guys, but it's one-sided for ENCE in this round. Again, they've got rifles versus pistols. Harsh eco, like you mentioned from the previous. USP just tapping forward to Hades. Scout overwhelmed by the Eagle plate. Slowy cannot get Dia.
Bomb being dropped, round pretty much over. Sorry, last one left, and he's probably a guy that's had a rough time period in 2021. Last year, he was probably in the conversation for top 3, top 5 AWPers in Tier 2. Had a really successful year with HAVU. Individually looked incredible, but this year, just with the player changes and with some of the way the results have been, it hasn't quite been the highest of highs for them. Zori's actually dipped off a fair bit, so hopefully after the player break towards the back end of this year, we get to see him back in good form.
HAVU now being pressured upon as the ENCE side are knocking on their back door, so we can give you updates as to how this series has gone thus far. Pretty even on the kill counts, actually. It's dead set at 41 apiece. Has been a bit more teamwork from ENCE, though, to try and get those kills over the line, so liking the notion that maybe these guys might be playing a bit more like a team as opposed to just relying on their individual players.
I'm kind of disappointed there's no TKs as of yet, but we'll see. Maybe that does change at some point.
I love that there's like a stat for TKs. It is.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all that often. But yeah, this tracker, it seems like it's mainly been HAVU with the advantage so far, but maybe now that some of the rounds are starting to shift back over to the ENCE side, it is going to be moving their way ever so slightly. 55 to... Okay, yeah, pretty much exactly the same, actually. 45.
Really refresher to see what was going on in that respect, but there's all that breakdown coming in our tech pause. We have... Apparently Hades is having some issues over on his part. Not ships, that's the last series, don't worry, we'll get that changed, but... Moment to remind you to choose Trustly to make your payments flow quickly from account to account. No cards now out there, download. No registration, you can try making payments with Trustly at pinnacle.com/odds. Of course, pinnacle.com, where you can find the odds for this particular matchup. Game bugging for Hades. That is the official issue as to what is going on. And definitely don't want him to be out of server. Again, he's been one of the star players, I guess you could say, for this particular side. When he was added, he's just been amazing. If he can have those individual performances, then that could be the difference maker for ENCE.
Honestly, came out of nowhere. When you think about your MHLs and maybe your Snatchies of the world, we'd all seen them in the past, but for the guy of Hades, we just had not seen him. He trialed about a month on AGO, got signed up to Aves, and everyone was like, oh, we don't really know who this guy is. Joined up Vizsla, kind of the same story, but it wasn't really until he sedimented himself on Vizsla that we got to see the potential that he has to bring to a team.
That potential's translated pretty well over to ENCE's side. He is going to be the main man alongside Dotto here, trying to challenge into that long control. Hades nowhere to be seen. They've tagged up Disturb, but they've lost that opening pick, so they still think he's there at pit.
D is so done. He's got no support whatsoever. Gonna try and at least hold his life for as long as he can, but he's pretty much just by himself. He needs to get some of his teammates to come back in, and HAVU actually just decide back it off instead.
Well, that kill may have bailed him out. Incendiary and smoke as well, indicating he had a lot of work, resources to work with. Of course, that was all his utility that he had in that one, but even so, HAVU backing away and not isolating the kill. I guess they probably thought that Hades was posted up at car or something, which he has gotten there now, but at that moment, he was still there on the site. Stack up towards short. HAVU are going to go from that position towards the execution instead. Drop down towards CT will not be seen, but Hades is ready with the AWP here. Looking to the right-hand side of that smoke. Flashbang keeps him blind. Can't isolate the kill for it, though. Slow is going to wrap around, but it will force the CTs to fall back.
That's good flashes. Force the AWP off angle and even swing wider. Slowy catches him.
Straight through the smoke, disturbed. Still low, dealt with by Snappy. Back to 3 versus 3. The retake is on. Past this smoke, Zori can't be seen right here. Spinks can get X7, though. Snappy can follow suit. And it's all left to Zori to clutch it again. Another 3K involved for him. He's getting tagged up, though. And finally, headshot down for Spinks to double up in the round and secure the retake for ENCE to go 7-all.
It comes down to the Israeli to make the play together, and he's got to be the last Israeli in this entire competition. We saw the other one was Zershan playing up on that Mouse NXT side, having a loss a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, that side has been doing a lot of great work, actually. I'm really fan.
Yeah.
Really big fan of seeing where they can go. Whether it carries on like that, oh, well, that's yet to be seen, but same with the double op setup here for now, focusing back on this matchup with the double AKs as well. So plenty of firepower available for ENCE into round 15. Galil's on a couple of players for HAVU, so their own buyback is not as fantastic.
Aggression coming through for Dono. It may have been seen actually from that shoulder bait coming through from Slowy. So it all just comes to how they're going to force him wider.
Zori with a pick on Dotto, Snappy to respond. Ariel can respond to that. So 2 for 1 and a very quick sequence into the mid control. HAVU pressing on short as they trying to indicate a mid to B play. The smokes and Molotovs coming down will force the fall back out of position. Hades is also pretty close at the CT spawn. AWP shot in, flick back, not connecting. He's dead. 4-on-2 scenario as Hades has got to go in for this. Does see the mad great lock on towards Slowy. Now him and Spinks up for the retake.
Zori's even so aggressive up for the short position, looking to take the fight straight away out to CT, meaning that Spinks is the last one left. What a perfect mid-round call there from HAVU. It really did look like they were splitting in towards the B side, and it scrambled the CTs ever so much that it just meant that Dia was so out of position that eventually when he tries to get back to the site, he's just pressured completely.
Indeed he was. And it's an 8-7 to the favor of HAVU, still in the lead at this moment. Still the odds favor them. Still Trustly is the bomb. Still, the T side can now get underway for the ENCE cam. And we're taking this within 1, you know, considering how dominant HAVU were in that first half. It's still a bit of a recovery, I want to say, for ENCE. Now, can they take that momentum, swing it into the T side, and pull off a map from HAVU?
And they'll be disappointed, HAVU, that they didn't get more out of that. It really looked like they were going to push double digits and maybe even further 11, 12 rounds, but not to be. They get the 8-7, looking to try and see if they can follow up on the pistol. Again, remember, their pistol win percentage so far this event is very, very low.
But they did win the pistol in the first half, and Slowy, with shots like that, could become clinical to do it again. X7. Nice to face out here towards the A side. The 2 players are going to drop down towards CT spawn. No one's going to be seen out there. Shots missed out against Spinks as he gets his kill back involved. Ariel will tap forward towards the pit control. And Disturb comes in from CT alongside a teammate, but he still gets overwhelmed. Slowly goosed out. 26 points of health. Bomb plant will be secured. No one is watching that long presence, and the flashbangs continue coming in for the utility. Zori gets it back to the man advantage alongside Ariel's efforts, but Stappy and Dia respond, and Zori is left alone. 1v1. 2 kills to his name. His USP starts making his way in with no kit in play. Gonna jump face, try to look for wherever Snappy is holding from. Seen him out towards ramp. Snappy repositions back behind the short boxes. Headshot angle only for Zori. Still gets the headshot, still gets the kill, and still should get the defuse for HAVU.
Yeah, should be able to get this forward, get that defuse in, and Zori yet to clutch again. So many situations in Dust 2 where he's been the last guy that they really need someone to make a big play, and Zori's the guy that they can lean on by the looks of it.
A second pistol going the way of HAVU. You mentioned their pistol win percentage in this tournament has not been amazing. But here in this game, it has been I want to say everything. Imagine the pistols have gone the way of ENCE. We could be looking down a very different scoreline right now. Zori again becoming the clutching man, and it's so good to see him stepping up in this particular fashion because he has always been a key clutcher for HAVU throughout all his years on this roster.
He's been here a while, I'll tell you that much. He's coming up to his 3rd year in September. A very, very long time. Just trying to see if he can push it even further. ENCE going to be forcing up. They got a lot of damage. They got a bomb plant that last one. Just couldn't quite play the clock. HAVU, perfect opportunity for them to be able to get up to double digits, but Spinks at least gets that first kill with Zori to fall.
X7 can respond towards one man, almost get the kill on the second. Dotto is tagged and naded to 67. Flashbangs forward, Incendiary is continuing to stir up, now going to become the central focus of the B-side defense, and Hades executes him with great prejudice, drags him to the underworld, now looks in for a little bit more. The tag on X7 is only a tag. The trade is involved to a 3-on-3.
And this doesn't look good in terms of the position of where the CTs are at. 3v3, X7 already tagged up. They've got a couple of flashes to work with, but they've got no kid.
AK is at least in play for X7, so they've got a slight firepower advantage, but SMG as well for Slowy might limit that and bring it back to rough even position. Smoke down the Dia, sees that first contact, wants nothing to do with taking the kill back. Smoke instead for the CT player. The Spinks catches Slowy. Great kill straight through that smoke. 2 remaining, 1 remaining. X7 finished off by Dia. And Aerial, well, 1v3. Got to get out of here. Got to hold on to the M4. Dia does get caught at least for an exit frag, but now he's got to escape.
Dotto and Spinks, very good post plant from just, well, really the 3 of them. You can even chuck sort of 80s into the mix there a little bit more. Spinks, just a couple of kills coming through when it counts the most. And for HAVU, just getting spammed up from the back of plat through the tunnel smoke, just wrecked that whole round. And we get into a bit of a position with double eco status. HAVU are going to have to force it up. And, well, they did win the pistol, but they don't win the follow-up. Things don't look great from there.
And probably does even worse than the pistol when conversions could do to the opponent's economy. Watch out for where this goes now. HAVU on the force up. Hades still set with a scout. Doing damage to Slowy on his scout as well. Scout v scout onto the mid control, but neither player comes up with the kill. It's just tag damage done.
Slowy is just desperate for a bit of a pick with this scout. He's been tagged up early, but still trying to see if he can find a little bit of a way in. And just more spam damage without really even much of a contact being made.
Spam continues. Nades come back. Scout shots continuing to ring out here from Slowy, but he's been unsuccessful in landing his tags. Snappy down at 87, that's as far as it goes. And Slowy and Zori down to low 60s, high 50s in the HP department. Minute 2, the clock, and ENCE are walking into short.
And they have got a lot of players in and around this A side. They don't have the util to slow down the push, though.
One flash for Aerial, better use that perfectly. He gets flashed into his own right. I've seen all that T-side contact here. Dotto tagged up by Slowy, still looking for a shot on Dia, and actually Aerial can line up the kills because of the damage done by that scout. Snappy there with a responsive, but Slowy's still looking in for more. Tags continue to come forward for the CT scout, deals with Spinks and drops the bomb down at the CT entrance. Snappy has no idea that Zori is held towards Goose, and this force buy is going to work wonders for HAVU.
Jeez, what a great contact play. The way in which they hold so passive. The scout just getting tag after tag after tag. And as soon as that bomb gets dropped down towards CT, you can kiss goodbye that round. Disturb being able to pick up an AK. What a beautiful response from the Finns.
Scout set up the rifle to strike Aerial with that lineup. Turn the whole tide of the round right there and then. And ENCE just didn't know how to deal with it. So we go back and forth once again, Dweg. On round or ENCE in this one too for HAVU. Force back, of course, will come through for the CT side. They got no loss bonus. Slowy again with the scout out. Can't find Hades as Dia is picked up first.
It's a good advantage to start off. Slowy even getting a pick in towards a mid player. So this is all falling apart. Only 3 players left. Dotto being tagged up. ENCE really need a miracle. They need someone to be able to get a couple of kills, open up a bomb site. Dotto's going to try that.
Down's the corner. Spinks picks up 1 frag on the Galil. Scout jump facing ever Slowy, trying to go for the cheeky no-script shots. And pays for it. Dotto with a trade back, but Zori responds to the man. So 3 versus 2. Galil involved towards that mid-to-be play at the CT spawn. Forced away by Aerial as ENCE rethink their strategy.
They missed one of the mid smokes, which doesn't help at all in terms of splitting into the B site itself and trying to see if they could just trap in X7. Now going out towards long, making noise.
Aerial catches him, Scout. Hangs up, Galil turned into 1 versus 3 now for Snappy. Molotov on towards Carl, will drive out that position. AK set the first contact, backstab also inbound from X7. Galil still hunting for the contact on this site itself. If they swing together, that could be the way in, but Aerial's on such low HP here. 35, bomb on his back. Continue facing, seeing the shoulder, but getting dinked up by that M4. Still wins his 2K. HAVU with 11 of the CT board. ENCE now being pushed back to the basic eco.
And with the signing of Aerial, yeah, you're getting a very experienced player, but you're also getting a guy that brings a lot of firepower to the team. And that's something that we have seen a fair bit over the course of this year, is just the star potential that he offers. 22 kills and 11 deaths, fighting a lot of involvement here on Dust 2. And for HAVU, they could set themselves up for victory road now. 11-8 up, money reset, has to be an eco here for ENCE. This is looking very good from the start here for HAVU.
Predictions tracker still favors the HAVU side. Still well and truly up for them. And still with the way that this half is going, that could pretty much work for them. So again, if you want to take the bet on this match, then pinnacle.com/odds is where you want to be. Small tech pause before we get into this next round. A small problem with webcams apparently over on one of these two teams. We'll find out specifically who soon, and we'll try and see if we can get that fixed up in particular, because obviously integrity issues and everything. We want to make sure that's 100% the case.
Yeah, someone raged death slam, didn't they? And then the camera fell over?
Probably.
It's normally how it is.
Yeah, absolutely wrecked the cable.
Yeah.
Speaking of wreckage as well, I know it's very early doors in terms of the T side here for ENCE, but when it comes to bomb plants and diffuses and bomb rounds, like HAVU have outpaced them very, very efficiently, I think, on their T side. Like those stats were so one-sided towards them. And again, I know it's very early doors, so it might not be an accurate representation of what's really going on, but it's an interesting little thing to note in terms of, you know, bomb plant advantage.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that can be a conversational point yet, only because we've played like 4 rounds of the second half, and of course double eco status coming through for some of them means you don't have the best to buy, so being able to get bomb plants is so much more difficult on those kind of rounds than it is, let's say, when you get to the rifles. So if we go a little bit deeper and we get into like the late 20s in terms of rounds, if we get that up again, might be something to be able to talk about there. But just in terms of ENCE, it seems like money being broken is a consistent issue over the course of Dust 2.
Well, our tech problems seem to be resolved, so we can jump back into this matchup and see whose money problems are going to be more hurtful to them. Snappy buying down with the Hero Scout alongside the rest of the Eco Pistols here. Not sure whether I like this, honestly, but they'll still try and get kills involved. They probably need a bomb plant, I want to say, here for ENCE. Fast plays into the lower tunnels, and the M4 here for Aerial trying to receive that nade involved. Should do some damage. Pretty nicely on towards Hades, but nobody else.
Yeah, the Hero Scout investment, just trying to see if they can do some economical damage to the opposition. We know that Slowy and Disturbed really don't have any money in terms of the reserve, so 1 or 2 picks in a round like this could be a difference maker in terms of resetting HAVU into the follow-up rifle. Out towards this mid position, they're not really getting faced at all. HAVU giving them a lot of respect.
Pressing forward, the M4s out for the B side defensive, Disturbed and Slowy. Watching both entries in a very passive position. No one's really watching mid, so Slowy's just going to have to hold off against him. And the Scout, Snappy, does find his pick back. Now Pistols involved. M4 struggles to find a spray on Dotto. Does connect it towards him and Dia. No. Snappy gets a TK involved. Oh dear, the Scouts may have found their entry, but it cost them the round.
No way! All they needed was 1 more kill and they would have been able to get a bomb plant out on B at least. Slowy just holding for as long as possible. How does a TK come into the mix?
I don't know. Either way, it's a big, big loss for them to take. SMG is Spinks trying to force something back here, but no. Not to be. 12-8. HAVU just decimating ENCE there. You mentioned they could have gotten a bomb plant with that pick, but big mistake made by Snappy, and now he deserves to have that eagle, I think, in this next gun round.
Yeah, it was a good start. You get that pick out towards a backplating player, but it seems like they just line up in front of one another by accident, and Slowy just holds for a very, very good sequence, just trying to buy time for the rotations, but it is what it is. ENCE be able to get the rifles forward. Yes, it's going to be a deagle up for Snappy, but you still got AKs with a fair bit of utility behind it. HAVU, again, very passive. They're not even contesting mid.
No, they just left it completely open. And we saw that the setup in the previous round had two players on the B site, one watching out of the mid doors, one watching the tunnels. So passive on the HAVU side. And it is kind of working, to be fair. Like, ENCE, they can have that mid control. They can go towards the short setup, but when it comes to actually playing into the sites themselves, HAVU have it on lock.
It just means that you're going to have a 5v5 until the execution really comes in, because you don't have any of those aggressive duels being taken in the early portion. X7 does catch a little bit of a timing, but just has to smoke down, try and see if he can support with util.
Smoke down on the boost spot position, but not towards the CT cross itself. They're still going to cross ahead of it, though. Flashbang's involved. To be able to escape against that man. That burst through on Slowy. Sees what's going on. D trying to look for the kill against the man. He gets it. Doubles up on Disturb. Turns around with a triple back towards the players at CT. He's going to wait back in a 4 versus 3. Extend through that smoke. Zori looking above. They could catch some kills here. The CTs are going to go back and save. And indeed, Zori does fall. So ENCE force the issue on the bomb site. Force HAVU to save.
I like that call for ENCE to be able to wrap B, have Dia entry, and then just leave Hades in CT spawn. Now, it does mean you have to have a lot of confidence in your teammates that they're going to be able to overwhelm the site, that you don't need that extra player in terms of assistance to get those trades in, because that whole ideal is we're going to overwhelm the site, we're going to get the bomb down, and Hades, as soon as that happens, you're going to look for exit kills. Yes, it's only one. Yes, that AWP still stays in play, but it's further economical damage.
3 rounds to the difference. HAVU still leading, but that's starting to be closed in upon by ENCE. They are so close to catching up. But with how individual their rounds have been here on the T side, will it have to be a case of a comeback later on in the half like it was on CT? Or can they stop it from here on out? Can they start resetting the HAVU economy state?
Well, it's got to come down to follow up in terms of rounds and make sure that HAVU, if they're saving, that they've got a hunt squad going forward, flash out towards this long position, and look at the damage that gets contained. A couple of early kills. D is even low.
Lockdown held together for HAVU as Theaters get caught by Zori next up. Out towards that mid control, looking onto Catwalk. Hades and Dotto. Press the issue very close up here. Dotto on short, going to try and burst in alongside his teammates split into the A site. But 3 players to find on this. This is borderline impossible.
Yeah, it is. And for Hades, even just a jiggle peek from the card player, he probably even got seen there. So they've got an idea that Hades is down towards CT. They don't know about Dotto at least.
Low waiting here for ENCE, hoping that HAVU make a mistake out of this. Or slight gap in that smoke. Hades giving up the angle, so Disturbed can punish him, not with a kill. At least that can be finished off by Aerial. Dotto gets 2 to return. Smoke back on a site, going to try plant for it. That smoke actually missed, so you've got a cross back big box, very risky. Slowy still set in with the M4 and very low HP. Smoke has at least hold off the cross for the moment and stop the CTs from pressing that too far forward. But they're going to look for the angle on short, and Zori lands his kill. Lands the round for HAVU.
It's a decent bomb plant in a 2v5. You do a little bit further damage than maybe what you could have got away with. You'll be able to buy it up going into the next, with the loss bonus being very, very high. But even so, HAVU, that was just such a clinical take of the long position in the early round, the way in which they get a 5-on-2 pretty much instantly, and just force such a difficult recovery over for the ENCE side and add more rounds to the tally. 13-9 up now.
Trying to really stack up. HAVU to take this map under their control. Of course, their pick here of Dust 2. ENCE have given it a bit of a challenge, but Nothing significant, nothing that will really turn things up to their favor. They are still fighting for a momentum swing, but again, it's just been this individual basis of these rounds. And with this force involved, with the money line being where it is, with the score line being where it is, you can imagine that this is going to be their real last big buy. Minute and 20. ENCE, where do they go with this?
Now, HAVU done a very good job in both the first half and the second half to not really allow ENCE to follow up with a massive amount of rounds in towards a short take with a bit of a slow walk aggression. A bit of a spotter out from Slow. He doesn't quite see anything, but they're giving them a lot of respect again to this short position. Nothing aggressive. Even Slowy is playing out from that car angle, or Zori, I should say, with that AWP. So no one is actually playing on A directly.
Chance to walk out, is going to turn away from it. The split play is involved. M4 counteracted by the flashbang, but eventually gets the kill in on Snappy. Both players got blinded, but their attention drawn so far out towards long allows the short presence to come in, get the bomb plant.
Now, Hades can still deal with a couple of these mid lurkers, and he catches off one, instantly dies.
Got caught jumping, so it's back to the advantage for HAVU. 2 players coming in from spawn, 2 players coming in from long. X7 sees nothing. Dotto attempting to face his head up D with a Molotov. Timed very well. X7 going to get caught with damage being done. Kills found for him too. Doubling up to the triple. Ariel also involved in that one as HAVU take 14. ENCE, good effort. Not to be.
They might as well buy it up again. I kind of look at the situation. Close to 4K on the money float. Do you really want to be playing for OT? Probably not. So could see a definite force buy here for the international squad. HAVU, again, very impressed by their retake setup and how quickly the protocol was, okay, we won the first fight out from long, let's fall back. We don't need to keep taking fights up to the A side. We'll just retake together. And X7 was the guy to put in the final couple of bullets.
Bomb plant enables one final force buy for ENCE, but a far cry compared to the buy that they had in the previous and what they could have had if they save. But if they save, it's going to be 6 rounds in a row to OT. They don't want to play for that. Fast execution inbound, smokes, flashes, AWP still looking out of the B. Doors, get Snappy tagged. Spinks also tagged very low. Disturbed, burning in the back of the site, finally overwhelmed by the bullets flying. CT suppressed out of the site. The bomb should cross the site, should get planted. Do ENCE hold on to a survival round here? Well, X7's going to try to take that away. It's so far up towards window, but no, they think better of it. They back off.
That's a smart call there for HAVU. You only lose 1 player. Zori's got money. Ariel's got money. You can drop Disturb the rifle in the next round. No problem whatsoever. Don't risk it. You're already up 14-9. It's not worth the risk investment to go into that side. If you lose the round, you just absolutely destroy your own economy with the single round loss bonus. So back off and save. Give ENCE the bomb site. Give them their 10th.
So no map point just yet for HAVU. No overtime requirements here for ENCE. And again, an all-important round to take. There was a very risky force buy that could have left them with nothing. Rifles can get dropped for HAVU on the other side of things, so they can get disturbed right back into the game. Plenty of castaway here for the CT side as they try and, again, get to that map point on their map pick. Tactical pause called in for them now, however. They know that they can reset ENCE. They know that they can find a quick responsive round.
A great opportunity to know if everyone at home are the experts. Get 10 euros or bet 10 euros, get 10 euros over at Pinnacle. The odds have been, floating up on screen every now and then to give us the back and forth nature between the two teams. And at least on Dust 2, it was, I guess, obvious from the starts in both the head-to-heads and both in terms of recent track record that that HAVU were going to be the favorites on this map because it is their map pick and it is a strong one for them. But it's definitely been a lot closer than it was last time.
Indeed. To be fair, any scoreline would be closer than it was last time. It was a 16-0 on Dust 2, so ENCE have a little something to be proud of. Were still the victors of that series when they played it, even though they lost that Dust 2. So, again, with Nuke looking to be floated up, that was a map that they were able to take pretty handily above HAVU themselves. So, ENCE Focusing into the B hit once again. Very successful with this hold. The M4 Slowy blind fires and lines up so much. 40's out of TK from Dia. And Disturbed holds the spray on Dotto as well. 4 versus 2. And ENCE have just fallen apart here in the tunnels.
Oh, what a hold for the B players. Just everyone spamming through that smoke. So much damage coming in. Disturbed has even got a teammate off rotation. And they've got a player in T-spawn somehow of X7.
Gonna hold off the rotations into the mid control, but it's still gonna try press the issue to B once again. Hades in the midst of the smoke, utility coming down towards the doorways, but they got to deal with the players that are both on site. Hades gets caught, Dia in a 1 versus 4. Good burst fire on Disturbed. He was already tagged up very low though. And Zori's AWP forced away by the Molotov, perhaps might buy a bit of breathing room for a bomb plant, but a 1v3 to hold off the site.
That's going to be difficult. Zori thinking about making some pop shots in there. Dia's just got to position himself to isolate these pigs.
Now known, good shot on the first, not quite the second though. X7 there with a responsive, and we'll see where that bomb is implanted for. Cheeky little angle as well that the CTs might not be ready for, but ultimately does go the way of X7, so. 15 for HAVU, map point again. ENCE have a little bit of cash in reserve so they can try the OT grind, but... And not ideal would that be here. Definitely a far cry from the previous one.
And again, just the individual rounds. Just so many situations in which, they're struggling, and HAVU just dominating in so many of the situations and some of the kills, in terms of just, even the TKs. We've seen 2 of them coming through for the ENCE side. How have we seen 2 in one map?
We've also seen the bomb plants and bomb detonations as well, now that we're a bit deeper in the T side. Much. ENCE have struggled to get to the site. They've struggled to really force HAVU onto a back foot on a retake or otherwise. It looks like this map will be going the way of the Finnish squad, but again, still 5 rounds for ENCE to make up. It's still possible for them to turn this around, but obviously they got a haul ass from here. Minute and 15 in round 26. Damage done to Slowy, no kills found.
And Disturbed just taking a couple of pop shots in towards that smoke, just trying to burst up, see if we can get a little bit lucky, see if we can catch off some early info. But for ENCE, it's just a regroup up towards the short position. And for HAVU, they've actually got 2 players on A directly with that AWP.
Smokes in, Snappy. Galil to face first to get some information, allow the AKs to do their damage. Or just run boost the player, that could also work out. Not going to happen. They're just going to walk out slowly. X7 held towards Ram, looking up towards Elbow as soon as he takes that peek in the AWP. Looking in towards Gandalf, sees 1 player just above that smoke. AK spray a little bit going far awry. X7 might get forced out of position. The bomb plant's got to come in secured though. An AWP shot misses continuously. Finally, Dia opens up in the round, but Aerial's there to respond.
Oh, even gets away with a couple. There is a bit of a late lurk coming through for the mid position. That could come in towards CT.
Okay, back towards Spinks, dealt with by Disturbed. He's read it. 2 players left. Snappy does get 1 pick back. There's such low HP across the CT board, but still, they're falling apart. Taps forward. Dotso with 2 kills. And now got a hold of against the last man, who holds the clutch together for 3 to his name for 11 for ENCE.
Oh, that was special. Really something special there for Dotto. The way that he's able to tap out, the way that he baits it, he's just falling back to that short position, gets him on a perfect timing, repositioning out to that ramp position. Just precision. Really good read for Disturbed to look back out towards mid. It seemed like there was so much going for the CTs there, but just not being able to deal with Dotto.
Great kills for him again. This 1v3. They were low HP to their credit, but still for HAVU, that's a round lost and a step closer to the OT for ENCE. And an eco that HAVU got to take on the chin. They will push forward here, Disturbed in particular. Not towards the tunnels. The AWP is watching him for Hades, though. Full set in towards the A site. Other than that here, they know that they've got nothing on B.
I do like this position from Disturbed, aggressive out from the upper tunnels. If he aggresses any further, though, he's done. He's just going to get chopped up pretty quickly. HAVU in a bit of a stance too, that they will start hearing some of this information, but it's going to take them so long to rotate off of A into B.
60 seconds and Dotto does get tagged up on this engagement out towards long, but Snappy deals with Disturbed without taking any damage at all and really giving him no chance to get a shot off, really. Smoke not there towards the B doors. Allows Aerial a chance to get some damage in alongside the likes of Zori, but X7 and him get cleaned up effectively in the tunnels and out to the mid to B plate. Bomb plant, not necessary. ENCE have 12.
I wonder how difficult this is going to be to close for HAVU. I kind of look at the weaponry situation and the loss bonus and say, okay, they'll be able to get a decent buy going into round 28. Round 29 might be a little bit more awkward. Round 30 is probably another good opportunity. So realistically, they've got 2 decent chances of closing before we do get to OT, if that happens.
The rifles inbound for HAVU one more time. Masters in on 2 players. Smokes down for Snappy. Aerial set with a flashbang to try and stop them from making their way out into the A site. Again, this ramp hold with limited utility sets, though. He's got 2 other players behind him at the long control, so there's potential in that. But again, HAVU not holding mid.
And without a kit in play, it pretty much means they can't allow it to be a post plant. Because if they do, things are going to look very, very difficult on the retake. ENCE just being able to work this mid control, gather that early short position. X7 thinking about a rotate back in towards CT spawn. Could be a good position for him to take a fight straight away.
Oh, awkward smoke. That's got a big gap in it. X7's going to exploit that. Dotto spotted. Now they realize what's going on. The Molotov won't burn that fast. Snappy, Hades, Dia down to 0 or low HP. Dia next up to 4. Disturbed finds 1. X7 finds another. And that one miss smoke costs ENCE any chance here in Dust 2. No grind to OT. It's 16-12 for HAVU as they take map 1. Their map pick of Dust 2 and ENCE got to adjust for Nuke going into a second. Don't go anywhere. We come back after the break. Battling back from the brink, almost gave ENCE the opportunity to take HAVU's map pick, but ultimately they did come up short at a 16-12 result. Now looking into Nuke, where things could still look a little bit more positive. And remember, Dwayne, the last time these 2 teams faced off against each other in a series, Dust 2 was played first. That was a 16-0, and then ENCE turned it into a 16-5 on the Nuke map that followed up. So I look forward to seeing whether or not this international squad can replicate similar results or go even further in this. It's HAVU on the CT start, though, and Aerial drawing first blood. Dotto to full. Aerial traded. Hades trying to work in a little bit further towards Hell. Tags up Zori. Can't quite finish off the kill.
Dia's been able to sneak down towards a lower bomb site with Snappy, trying to see if they can beat the rotation of Zori, who's already so low, and Spinks is the one to find the man advantage.
There's nice distraction towards outside. No one was expecting him to dive down towards that secret control. Disturbed has come up with a trade frag alongside Slowy to respond towards Spinks. 2 versus 2. X7 seen by Snappy. Hades going to try converge in against them. They have info on both players, but they do not have the man advantage. They do not have the round either. Snappy with a swing. 2 kills for him. ENCE with a pistol.
One element of the T side that we can expect from ENCE is just a lot of tactical depth, a lot of outside walks, a lot of map control being gained, and even just in that round right there, there's so much going on, but it seems like ENCE know exactly what the play is, the way in which they're pulling the distractions. They're aggressing out from ramp, but then they're also aggressing out from vent to close on onto the player at decon. Everything was so methodical for ENCE, and for HAVU, they just got pulled for a spin in that round.
Yeah, again, I would have thought that it was all rested on that Hell position and that locker room's play from Hades, but again, that was all a ruse, and now Dia just drive-by with a Mac 10, getting 2 kills involved. Nicely done. X7 Disturbed and Zoro, the last couple of players involved here for the HAVU camp. Of course, in this force buy, it has been ripped apart by an SMG alone, so... 2 kills for ENCE. 2 kills for HAVU. 2 kills for ENCE. 2 kills for HAVU. 2 kills for ENCE. 2 kills for HAVU. 2 kills for ENCE. 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 2 kil Garcia continues fragging. 3 kills for him. Again, jump in the corner. Again, finding disturbed. And now one player in the back of the site. That's Zori. Faced in by the Galil, who also does not go down. 1v5 for a second round for ENCE.
Yeah, sometimes the Mac 10s, they just look like lasers, don't they? Just the way they round corners, the way that you could just get instant kills and just running and gunning, just farming up as much cash as possible. And pretty much as soon as you get that first kill outside of main and even down towards that lower site for a 5-on-3, the round's gained. And just that extra little bit onto Disturbed is just a bit of a cherry on top. It's a little bit more of a bonus. And they don't lose anything on the anti-force buy, which in terms of economy is excellent for ENCE.
Second up to the board again, coming in easy. HAVU have X7 hold on to that UMP, and that's about as far as it will go for him. Stays indoors, stays alive, and stays in with the eco now for the CT side. Not a lot of cash available, so simple pistol and conversion start here for ENCE. The odds over at Pinnacle you just saw have gone a little bit more evened up in terms of who could win the series. I guess because they are up by a map now for HAVU, it still could be taken by ENCE. They can get the next couple of maps on the table, but obviously having that map in your back pocket, a bit of an advantage in that respect.
Yeah, got to remember that HAVU placed second in the last Pinnacle Cup where they lost to Gambit in the finals. So they got a second placement, they took $20,000, and, well, now you kind of look at them in this sort of situation and not even putting them as favorites in the playoff round 1 game.
The big issue for HAVU in that one, obviously, is the fact that they did have Yemi involved. They had the definitive 5th in that matchup, in that tournament. I don't think they faced off against ENCE at all during that tournament, if memory serves me correctly as well. So a couple of bits and pieces there that could also just change up by comparison to the previous tournament. But at this stage, all formality. USP is involved here in this particular round, and the eco should get cleaned up by ENCE. A couple of close calls there from Dia and Spinks, but Mac 10 maintains its life, and ENCE not losing anything in the conversion and eco round. So rifles have come out, stats are great. Still a bonus that can be played here for the Ts.
And even in terms of losses for the ENCE side, it doesn't happen very often. Their last one was against Sinners in the main Swiss, but we know the tear that they've been on recently, just qualifying a Pro League and trying to push themselves forward for a top 30 team in the world. So outside of high-end Tier 2 caliber teams and Tier 1 opposition, ENCE don't really lose Nuke very often.
Oh, they force forward into this particular round and don't lose the opening jewels either. Again, tons of damage being done to the T-side line, and there can be a trade back for Zori's part with assistance from an M4. Here to fall in a 4 versus 4, but that bomb has committed to the lower position, so Spinks will be left alone. Can his teammates come up and support it? Can they find a way downstairs?
It wasn't the best of utility at all for that vent dive. We didn't see a cross smoke coming through for the Ts to try and get them to lower, and because of that, it just allowed so much space to be taken for HAVU in terms of the crossfires, and they've just done so much damage up to this T side. ENCE might just try and go for a bit of an upper split, but they've got to try and fake it and get down towards lower. This could be an upper fake to taking ramp to then grouping up with Spinks at lower.
One player dropping back off to the back of the A site, and Disturbed held out towards closed vent. Hades does dive down in the end, try and join his teammates, making a lot of noise about it. So 2 CTs on the rotations, but they're not aware that Spinks could be in orbs on the window, not even popped open at the right moment. He strikes on X7, but Hades is traded back by Zori. His orb set to the B site, 3 on 3. Dotter's got to come in with his backstab. He's going to be so silent about this. Zori's in trouble. Zori's a dead man, and now they can cross get the bomb down.
He did start turning around, looking back, and there is a play that's come through quickly in terms of the rotations for the CTs, but they've got to get a move on.
Ooh, open plant. Dotto's got it covered. Disturbed. 1 versus 3 now for him. The coach standing in. Now going to stand up in this clutch, and it's not impossible. Dotto and Spinks are low. Snappy's going to be that next main concern, however. And Disturbed is seeing nothing of the T side.
No one's giving up a fight, are they? So really for Disturbed, he's got to be thinking about saving onto this M4, trying to go back up the vents or even out towards Secret, taking the jewel onto Snappy, but losing it out. ENCE, even in a situation where it doesn't look that healthy, they still make it look like class. The way in which observation just does not even get checked there at all by the City side. The way that they can drop down into the vents again and just win some really important jewels, planting open for decon, but still having the cross lock. So even when that swing comes out, they can't do anything with it.
B side has been the domain of ENCE thus far here on T side. Liking what we're seeing so far from them. Smokes down, Dia again crossing out towards the red box. Awkward smoke still catches vision on Zori. The Dia a little slowy that they're not quite ready for either. Zori actually credited with the kill. Spamming through that smoke with the assistance. Aerial held into the corner. They have probably grabbed that AK. Aerial still being seen by Snappy. Forced out past the wall. Bangs, but still Aerial wins the fight. And outside, falling apart here for ENCE.
Jeez, that should never happen. As soon as you get caught on that little sort of cubby corner in garage, you're just going to get spammed up and instantly fall. Instead, ENCE have now got to try and recover a 3v5 up against the Eco.
Slow's still got an AK in. Spink still thinks he might have vacated away from this position. His back's turned as Slowy swings back up, gets another good kill in this round. A 3 versus 2. And back down into the fence. They're going to run right into that AK once again. Hades gets caught for it. 2 kills for Slowy and Dotto. 1 versus 3. Tagged to 60 thanks to the Molotov. CT's up close here. X7 just going to deal with him. Tapping forward with the Deagle. That's a steal round here from HAVU.
Yeah, that is. It's a bit of a gift, and it just came down to some really important jewels being won. The UMP, in particular, out from Garage is something that doesn't happen very often, but it's an opportunity that gets taken, and then in a bit of a position where they've just got the numbers game, the rotate down from Slowy to that lower bomb site with the AK, just continued doing damage, and even though it was an eco, it's the first round for HAVU.
Rounds around at the end of the day. And still, it could arguably be better than the definitive gun round, I mean, for the HAVU side to get that first to the board. Knowing that you've won an unlikely one to bolster up your economy state. Of course, Rifle saved in for the buyback, and ENCE into hard buyback into round 6. The AKs, the AWPs involved. D are going to face up towards Mini, and no one's covered off the outside controller. Slowy has no idea that that player's going to peek in from that angle, get the kill. Aerial tagged up as well. 22 points of health for him. Continuous facing from Dia, looking back to that backline, doesn't see anything more.
There's just no util for the CTs to work with, and for Disturbed, he can't really get a lot of assistance in. HE goes down towards Squeakdoor. That does a fair bit of decent damage, but Dia just follows up, and this has to be a save. They can't go for it.
Yeah, especially with that kill on X7, 2v5. And damage is great, but it doesn't lead to kills, and therefore does not lead to the round. Otto and Snappy in particular could have been easy pickings for these rifles, but it's best to hold on to the M4s from here. And the economy from HAVU still bought pretty heavy into this round, despite having some saved weapons. But it won't be there for a definitive buy in the next one. Maybe with the M4 staying in.
They're getting slapped about here on CT, and honestly, it's not surprising. We know that Nuke is not a great map here for the HAVU side. We know that for ENCE, they're a very strong Nuke team. And coming into this veto, it's very telegraphed on getting Dust 2 and Nuke out, knowing the way it was last time. Just a little bit of a shame that for HAVU, you win an eco, you win an unlikely round, and you just don't follow up. Instead, you've got to save onto a couple of players. You can buy down again, but rounds are coming far and few, and I just don't see a bit of a way in that HAVU can make this competitive. I mean, this is the half to prove it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd look at the CT side and expect that to be the better half for a lot of teams. And we know, obviously, with T-side, you know, basis. But for a team that don't play this map that much, the CT side is where it's at. HAVU. Hope there's something a bit different coming in the future. M4s, AWP, UMP. You buy back at this particular round, of course, can afford it thanks to the saved M4s, but... Again, where can HAVU go with this? Can they find an opening frag, or will ENCE just look as dominant as ever?
And Zori out towards ramp. He's just holding the crack angle, making sure that as soon as he gets contact, he can put that incendiary down and slow the whole pace of the T side. But it's actually out towards ramp, or at least the start to come through. Hades just waiting for X7 to make a mistake, just repositioning out on the side dry.
Oh, missed smoke there. The T side line can't siphon off the main entrance, and Aerial can get D face out towards the garage angle. Good idea from him, but not quite solid on execution, and now Slowy set with the defensive here towards ramp on the off angle. Snappy still reads it, gets his kill involved. Adjustment against the man to a 2-for-1. 4-on-3. Orb still set here towards the back line. As third finds Snappy, and they still got an M4 as well up in the raft. Swing back, and they do catch off. Sorry, 2 versus 2. Leg shots only land so good against Spinks as he gets his 2K involved, and Aerial up to clutch on a retake.
He's got to go for this. 1v2, knowing that they've legged up Spinks, just try and go for it. Try and get the attempt forward. I really hope he doesn't save.
He's saving. No, he's going for it. I guess he didn't realize whether it was an A site or B site take. But you're right, he kind of has to make this move. Kit in, Incendiary down. Where does he put the Incendiary first and foremost? Well, that's at the blue box would be the most ideal angle here. He's checking out the back lines. And he does put that up. Does that extend far enough? Yes, it does. Hades forced out in the open. He's going to burn and fall. 1 versus 1. AK picked up. Where's Spinks? Out of observation. He's going to wait for him. Bomb not planted for the observation window, though. And Spinks will get the kill in anyways. Aerial, not enough time. 6th round for ENCE.
For anyone at home, perfect lineup there for the Incendiary. The way that it kind of spreads towards the back of default and towards the back of the blue boxes. Just really well timed and really well positioned. Unfortunately for him, it does isolate one of those picks, but he just does not pre-aim out towards observation. Spinks, he's been very impressive at this lower bomb site, whether it be opening kills, whether it be entries, whether it even be kills on the post plant. He's just always finding impact at lower.
Again, lower has been the domain events, and it's just been easily taken control of so many times on the plants, the post plants, all of it. HAVU have got to take a moment to adjust against this, because I'm sure that the odds at Pinnacle will also be adjusting against them. Again, pinnacle.com/odds to find your latest in-play offerings for this matchup in the series and the map. Not sure whether the series odds will tip, but definitely the map odds are well against them, I want to say. HAVU really not getting started here at all.
No, definitely not. And it's not the best of showings here from HAVU at all. Again, you look back to the Pinnacle Cup I event. They beat SAW in the round of 12. They beat NIP in the quarterfinals. They beat Big in the semis, and then even took a map off Gambit. So, yeah, it has been a little while, I guess, since that last event. But yeah, when you compare the pair, it's not the same HAVU, that's for sure.
Yeah, in quite literal and figurative ways. And map winner stats have a lot of favour towards ENCE at this moment, and a very, very high percentage chance. Series right now still has a couple of stats that do favour the HAVU camp, but we'll see how that transpires as time goes on. Mag 7's in for 2 players, and auto shotgun for Zori as well. Very shotgun based in this round. It's going to get interesting. The Eagles found his way forward. Aerial disturbed. Stealing all the kills alongside Zori here. 3 picks untraded, and ENCE have been shocked out of this round, I feel. Bomb dropped all for Hades. AK or Spinks, how do they go about this? They just lost all control.
Yeah, this round looks pretty much done. Another Incendiary going down towards Squeak Door. X7 might want to try and get aggressive, try and fight the AWPer, but with the bomb just in control, it makes it so difficult for Hades and Spinks to work together. They could try a couple of wraps because they do have a lot of time to work with.
60 seconds, Hades trying to look out, but that shotgun still working in the marshmallow angle. Gonna wait here until some CT player takes face. Incendiaries, Molotovs out to close vent. When does X7 drop in? Do they just wait for it? I think the best place to wait for it. He's got disturbed as well on the other side. All a case of timing. Shotgun shot, connects on the damage. XM swings out, gets another kill. Doesn't quite make it a third, and the AWP of Hades there for the trade, but gotta get somewhere towards that bomb. 30 seconds, does not see where X7 fell out towards. Knew that he was there, but 25 seconds, surely he saves from here, right?
I don't know why he's not just chucking the AWP away. I'm just thinking, just go back out to lobby and just chuck that AWP over the fence. There's no way that you're going to win a 2v4 like that. Maybe just getting a bit more desperate, thinking to yourself, oh, we might be able to get away with a couple of kills, even if we don't win the round. But you kind of just offer up a free AWP to the city side.
Such an unexpected victory from their part as well. Again, shotguns across the board. Maybe that 1 XM could have been, placed correctly and that could have done some damage, or maybe it could have come up with a massive round, but 2 Mag 7s in tow and a Deagle, like, that's just... You'd never expect that to take a win for HAVU. It's everything. A second finally up to the CT board, and smokes down to the cross as they try back to a bit more standard play. Dia does take a bit of damage from the burst fire of Aerial, though.
Oh, just follows up with an entry kill, though, straight to Zori. Doesn't even really get tagged up that much heavier than that. X7 could be quick on rotate out from ramp, but he's not moving.
Still thinks there might be a split play, but again, they're down in the B bomb site, and we've seen how great these lower takes have been from the T so far. Decon door opened up. X7 might have been spotted. Flashbang towards him, definitely forced him off angle. Another bomb can cross and get planted.
This has got to be an instant save. There's no way you're going to win this. You've got kits in play, you've got some util, but you're just locked so far out of the site.
Yeah, there shouldn't be much left for this one. Should be a 7th for ENCE. And you're right, HAVU will get out of dodge. There's still left Spinks upstairs, however, out to the outer yard. He might catch Slowy if he extends all the way out towards red box. Timing so perfect for the kill. Another rifle to drop, another weapon taken away from the hands of HAVU. Well, the notion that they could get more individual rounds here on CT. Yes, that was a great steal with the shotgun round, but no follow-up still for HAVU. None at all.
I wonder how the difference of not having a boot camp at the moment is affecting some of these teams. Aerial just going to get pincered in, gets away with 1 kill, instantly falls. X7 and Disturbed hold onto their weapons, but we know for Entropic, they were boot camping for a little while. You can see on their player cameras today that they weren't together anymore. ENCE, they've got a great boot camping facility. HAVU the same, but I guess now that we're getting closer up towards the player break, it's like, right, everyone else can go home, probably spend time with family after we've finished all of our tournaments and not have a boot camp when it's just about to be the player break.
Another tactical called in by HAVU. They actually extended their previous tactical and they used up their second, so this is actually their 3rd one called already. Things are not looking good for HAVU. Things can look good for you if you use Trustly, of course. Use Trustly to make your payments flow quickly from bank accounts. No cards, no app download, no registration. You can use Trustly at Pinnacle.com right now at Pinnacle.com/odds. You can find the latest playing offerings for this matchup. Although I imagine that those odds were going to be very one-sided right now to the favor of ENCE. 7-2. This is just monstrous on their map pick.
And they're putting on a good showing here on T side. They're not giving that many opening man advantages up to HAVU. And you could just see that in some of these rounds, they're desperate for anything. DR, ooh, has not seen the plan towards the top of Garage. Has now. It's a little bit too late. Oh, he still gets a kill. How?
Somehow. I'm not going to answer that question. I don't even think I could. Zori does find a frag on Dia as well to a 4-on-4.
Ooh.
Look at the wraparound from Aerial. Okay, this could be everything. No! He still gets killed off by Dotto. Couldn't line up the full-on spray. At least he knows where the bomb is. At least the CTs can work with that information. But now X7 got it all to do alongside Zori here down at the lower site. This time they have presence on the site itself. And a 3rd man could also join them. Gotta rotate the long way around, though.
Yeah, X7's at least been able to catch one off. See that bomb too, but he needs to follow up now. They've got a bit of a play towards topside.
Dotto a little bit lagging behind in terms of his kill attempt. Spinks seeing Disturbed, seeing his shoulder, wins that fight, and the rotation right back up to A can come through, although Dotto is going to get caught on it, so it'll be a 2 versus 2. The bomb will still go down. Snappy sees that Molotov, knows that their CT inbound. No smoke to cover it off, the count smoke back in, he still forces forward, and the Snappy can still detect him through that smoke. Zori, now with an AWP left, the fuse in hand, flash over, I think he wants to save call. Yeah, he's out of there.
Now, I'm not sure with that molly if it was just server side or it was client side as well, but it seemed like some of the flames was actually like elevated in the air when Aerial went for that sort of wraparound play to the back T-Red. So that would have obstructed the vision. Again, you don't know if it actually came through on his POV or not, but by the looks of it, if we can get a replay down on that molly out in the secret position, it looked like some of the flames was actually floating just with the verticality, and maybe that made the whole shot so much more difficult for Aerial to sort of wrap around and drop that bomb.
It's always difficult to tell because you never know what is a GoTV bug and what is legitimately.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was too bad. I mean, you can see it right here that, yeah. I feel like he might have been thrown off for like a hair, like a split second or so. Maybe that was client side. Well, We'll never know. We'll never know. 8-2. ENCE comes back in. Dia having Aerial again forcing so far forward. His outer plays have been particularly good. This time he actually gets away with a kill, and there's no response from ENCE.
It's just something a little bit different, a little bit further aggressive rather than a walk setup, and they're not really ready for it. No one's playing anti-flash. Easy pick comes through onto D-Hub, but Hades going for a bit of a walk behind the lurk smoke.
Snappy continuing the campaign towards outside. You've got Aerial still watching that from the outside and main position, so he's ready to receive that red box position. And know that he's grabbed that AK as well, so there's an extra rifle to play with here for the CT players. Molotov's being seen as well, so info has been gained, but the smokes will siphon off his vision.
It's a bit more of a fake towards outside, get those cross smokes in. No one's actually committing with it. It's going to pull the attention ever so slightly from Zori. That's going to open up ramp a little bit more. X7's the only player to hold.
Hades catches Slurry out of squeaky doors, so 4v4 now. Looking in with the Molotov towards closed vent and vent itself. Aerial watching from main, gonna get smoked off position. Will still try and force forward. Disturbed, caught in the back of the site. Good kill for Spinks. An AWP upstairs, caught off. Aerial now facing forward. Sees two players in the lineup, but doesn't get the kills on either. Just damage done over 1 versus 4 for X7 as Hades makes it a triple and just makes it look so proficient here for ENCE. 9-2.
And the conversation that I start leaning into is there are teams in and around sort of the top 30, top 40, Fiend, Skade, Endpoint, where in head-to-heads between one another, the veto doesn't mean a massive amount because the teams have got deep map pools, they share similar maps. That is not the case here whatsoever against HAVU and ENCE. And we've seen it in the past, just how one-sided some of the maps can be.
Yeah, I mentioned that 16-0 so much. And remember, the last nuke was a 16-5. We're well on our way to that here for the likes of ENCE. HAVU only finding 2. And ENCE just looks so on fire. At least they found the opening kill this time around. Zori with the York pick on Dia and the X7 and for Mars have Disturbed and Slowy. Start round the corner over at Heart.
And the only issue is that they've had opening man advantages and then just lost it. Boost up to maybe get a bit of a peek forward. They opt against it. They've got to be able to clear out this tight left position. They've got to have a flash. Someone's got to be pre-aiming it. X7, how much does he get away? Spinks is swinging out really, really wide. X7 gets away with 1. Looking to follow up. Only gets 1. At least rotations have come in from lobby.
And now Slow's bracketing them in here. They've got to commit towards that B site. Zori's on rotation as well. His AWP set towards Obs, expecting them to be out here. And the window has popped open. Now it has been Hades. Head seen. Molotov to drive him away, but still Zori lands a shot. Spinks up close and personal. Leg shot to do him. Tiny 2-8 points of health for the AWP. Disturbed also tagged pretty low, but so is Spinks to 15. Dotto on site. Needs to get a bomb plant in soon. They draw attention back here. He's down in the middle of that site. X sends the buckshot well the damage, but Dotto still gets 2 kills. Caught on a reload though. On rotation back to the A side. That's a very smart call.
Oh, what a clutch this could be to come in for Dotto. The way that he's positioning himself, the way that he gets back towards topside. Aerial might just come up the vents.
Making a lot of noise for it. Dotto's on the read. Aerial. Flashbang over. Turned away from a closed vent. And Aerial's completely blind himself. 3 kills for Dotto. And what a clutch that was. Focus rafters. Focus doors. Force the other CT to come to you. Wonderfully played.
And normally, Jay, when we see a good clutch, we think to ourselves, oh, it was so sharp, right? He hit some nutty shots. But in that clutch, it was more so the decision-making that was just class than anything else. The way that he's isolating the 1v1s, working with the information, knows the Aerial is back towards ramp, just goes instantly, yeah, I'm going to go back up from decon, back up the vents. But to make that kind of decision on the spot, it is not easy whatsoever.
Right calls made at the right times. Now Slowly with the Mag 7 has dropped straight in against the T-side player. Heard that player dropping down and Spinks read it. Kills in for him and Dia. Instant man advantage for ENCE once again. 5 on 3. What can you do if you're HAVU?
I don't know. Exclamation mark GG in the all chat. I don't know what the chances are, because again, we're just seeing these rifle rounds. At times, some of them could be more competitive than others, but this one right here is just so one-sided. Dotto just being able to catch up another. Disturbed does get at least some damage with the FAMAS, but it's not enough to even make the round close, is it?
Yeah, this is just decimation on a level. And HAVU, I mean, again, considering how close that last map was, how much you'd be feeling after going toe-to-toe with ENCE on Dust 2. And your own map pick as well, like that was shockingly close. This one is shockingly not. It's time to be concerned, I think, for HAVU. I think it was time to be concerned a fair while ago. 11-2. Hero, Mag 7 buy in. Spinks already diving down to the vents, completely uncontested by the CT side.
Just the outside take again, and it really does seem like it's vent dive after vent dive after vent dive, isn't it? Spinks being able to catch X7, and it's just more distractions being pulled.
A real play comes in towards the double doors. Aero has got the UMP set up, has seen 2 players, gets 1 kill and damage to the second, but still 2 for 1. ENCE cleaning house now. Hades and Dotto with their picks. SMG can do some damage here for Zori. Take 1 frag out of play, but 4K clutch, 11 points of health. Not gonna happen. 12-2. ENCE 10 rounds in the lead. And HAVU have 1 more to try and make back some consolation prize. But quite honestly, Dweg, I feel like we're nearly done.
Yeah, I've got that feeling too, especially because it's T-side. If we had to do knife rounds and it was CT side, you could give it, I want to say, some credit. But yeah, T-side Nuke and you're up 12-2. You know you're in for a bit of a rough time for HAVU, just trying to see if they can end the half on a positive note. Get to 3 if possible.
AUG out spray through for Aerial. Slowy. Losing Disturbed on Spinks' part. They're going to look up. He knows that he's there. He knows that he's somewhere out in position. Here towards the hut control. Slowy can get a kill involved. The Hades responding to Aerial going back and forth. Dia runs out of ammo, but Snappy can deal with Slowy regardless. Zori 1v3 on the AWP. Shots missed on the first player and falls to his death. That's not the way you want to end the half for HAVU. It was scrappy from the word go, and ENCE, well, I mean, what more do you want to say? Like, what else can you really do?
Yeah, it just comes down to ENCE being the much better team here on Nuke by such a country mile. Even in that last one, it looks a little bit more chaotic. We've got some more aggression coming through, and the predictions tracker just gets further and further one-sided. 4% for HAVU. But it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense when you have a look at a 13-2 scoreline. They've only been individual rounds. And just in terms of potential, there's not a lot. Down to 2 now. Even worse. Let's see a 0%. That's what I want to see.
That's what happens when you hit 16.
Well, of course.
Look, even at 15-2, there was like a 1% or less chance of being able to bring a comeback, but it's never 0. It's never 0. Might be 0 for X7 in this round. Dia gets that first kill. Zori trying to trade it alongside Slowy. So 2 for 1 for HAVU. They have control of the man advantage. Will that remain that way? Oh, not on Snappy's watch, but he misses his shots towards outside. 2 players face him. He gets tagged up. Spinks also goes down.
Yeah, Snappy just needs to try and hold, waste as much time as possible, get Dia to wrap in from the outside position in from Secret, but they need another pick.
Dia finally gets here. Flashbang at the ready. Utility picked up from a dead teammate, and Snappy gets his headshot now to a 2 versus 2. 1 closed vent, 1 out the back of the site. Dia and Snappy have landed all the headshots. They pulled it off. Started so well for HAVU, but you just don't stand a chance. 14 for ENCE. We're done. This is over.
Oh my goodness, how was that retake as successful as it is? Snappy seemed like he had a little bit of a difficult challenge towards sort of that held position, but once he got into heaven and once he was just able to get some of those shots in, everything started to flow. The way they used the flash in, the way they pick off one another, Dia and Snappy, what an unbelievable duo in that situation.
Perfect shots, perfect moments. This adjustment from Dia in particular was what really impressed me. What is that? That's some Hiko crap right there. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I feel like this is almost over. Almost completely over. Let's see what maybe the Deagles and SMGs can do here, but Snappy with his M4 set. Shotguns out for Spinks. 2 kills found, 1 trade back for X7. Sorry, can deal with Snappy as well, so it will be a 3 versus 3. But ENCE still got a weapon advantage, still got positions above the T side line. They drop the likes of X7. That bomb is down in ramp, it can still commit.
Just perfect repositioning coming out from Dia, getting back over to safety. And you're right about the bomb, but they're a little bit more hungry. Rather than just falling down and getting a post plant, they want more. And if they could trade out Dia in Garage, that could be an opportunity.
But they can't. Zori now left to clutch it. 1-on-3. Up in Heavens. He's got a slight positional advantage above the man, so he can get the pick back. Looking for the next couple of players as well. Smoke down to the left-hand side of the site. Salmon an A play. Will he commit to the A play, though? Will he rotate back? He's thinking about it. Hoping a CT gives up an angle. The shotguns on the way back at close range. Zori's got to commit now. 30 seconds left.
He's just got no info, does he? None of the CTs are having a pop shot. No one's made a footstep. No one's been able to relay any communication over earlier of where they were playing from. So even for Zori, he just goes down and puts that bomb in. There could be a chance that just Spinks instantly swings.
He won't instantly swing, but he will get up close. Shotgun, lands 2 taps, lands his kill. Lands the round for ENCE. Map points for them. And it looks like our third is indeed calling us Diagons. Well, I did say I thought that HAVU would get defeated on Nuke and Overpass, so I didn't think it would be this one-sided. I do understand, yes, it is ENCE's map pick, but this is some other level of confidence from them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I am kind of with you in the same sort of level of I wanted to see more. I wanted to have the expectation that at least HAVU were going to show some competitiveness, but it just hasn't been the case at all. They've been absolutely slammed in Map 2 of the series, and just in terms of confidence, it doesn't bode well looking to go into Map 3.
Now force in for the rifles that they had saved. Poor ENCE. Every 4-by round has been won by them. Even stuck in some ecos and clutches here and there. Scout set for Hades towards out, so doesn't even need the orb with the way that he's playing. Galil's on aerial. Let that Molotov just flush out position here towards Secret, but D is just going to wait back a passive.
Yeah, guaranteed they don't even check this angle if they go down to Secret, because it would be insult to injury, wouldn't it, if they went down Secret and they just didn't even clear the position. Bit of a gap for Snappy to work with in the smoke outside.
Disturbed. And sneak up close, still Snappy just against him, and deals with a second player as well. 5-on-3. Scout firing, Snappy gets a triple, Aerial gets one player to respond back, Dotto gets involved, however, and X7 dealt with by Snappy on a quadra. 16-2, not even a challenge by HAVU, but they've got a challenge somehow. It's their last chance to stay alive in the bracket in our last map of the day. Overpass after the break. Dominance, decimation, brutality, whatever you want to call it. That's the second map from ENCE. Was not one that HAVU want to remember for very long, especially going into Overpass. Another map that doesn't have a lot of basis to work with for the Finnish squad. And honestly, Dweg, I can't see them going very far with this. I did say that I think that map 2 and 3 were going to be the ones which ENCE are going to be able to take. And if it's that one-sided, I don't know what to think.
And they're going to get rolled, really, here on map 3, because just, you have a look at the whole win percentage, you have a look at the recent track record, and they've been slammed in their recent games here in Pinnacle Cup. 7 rounds against Skade, 6 rounds against Entropic, and while this isn't a fantastic map to come in for ENCE, they still hold a lot of capability on it. So, knowing the way that Nuke went down, I'm hoping it will be a little bit more competitive, but really, you've got to be realistic in the matter and say, this is not going to be an easy time for HAVU.
Well, look, as much as I love 777, to know that you've gone down 16-14 against that team, been unable to close out on a map like this, I mean, they're unfortunately only really relevant in one tournament. So the idea that you're losing to 777, that's not a good look for HAVU coming into this. Just to compound with the 16-7 and 16-6 results you mentioned earlier. ENCE set and ready to take this series and knock HAVU out in the round of 12. Pistols going live with the T-side start taken by the Finns. X7 gets that first kill. Trade back on D as meanwhile, the main T-side force is so far forward into the A-side. The Molotovs are press rotations. And to be fair, it's a good bait play. It does leave a bomb plant on a retake.
This isn't going to be an easy setup at all for ENCE. The A-bomb side's been completely opened up. Hades making a little bit of noise on rotation. Spinks is still waiting behind the con smoke.
We're going to hold back until he has his moment to strike. The backstab, the two-prone attack. 3 players coming in from Dumpster and Bank. The Bank player, Dotto, take the 4 points of health. Backs are turned to the likes of Spinks. They're still doing damage as Hades finally ends up falling. Now Spinks looking to strike. Gets one headshot in. Looks for the second couple of players as well, but slowly peeks back up. Disturb deals with Dia, and Dotto falls to the hands of Aerial. So HAVU, with a pretty good pistol strategy. I really liked how that one worked out for them against that first round to their board.
It was one that pulled the CTs for a lot of distraction, wasn't it? That early contact play from the bottom of con, just getting them out of position, allowing that A side to be taken relatively easily, and then just committing to a lot of fights in on the post plant. Very well played for the Finnish side, and now with the follow-up, you've got to wonder, are we going to see the conversion coming in, or are the Deagles going to be able to overwhelm? No scout in play, though, for Hades.
Mac 10s. And AKs, Galil's out for the likes of HAVU. They do have a scout in for X7. Hades was particularly good with a scout in previous. Not as great as he was with the AWP. So I have a bit more faith in X7 and co. But Hades Deagle is just as impressive. Great kill on Aerial. Kicks things off.
That's a very slow default this time around for HAVU, spreading across the map, waiting for over-aggression, and for the most part, not really coming in. Spinks is slightly pushed forward out from the bathroom, so he is going to wait for Hades to get into position, so they can at least establish a crossfire between the two.
Molotovs in, X7 watching with a scout, tags up Hades. Frag found, damage done, X7 and Spinks going back and forth, and Spinks finds 2 more Deagle shots to grab rifles and a 4 versus 2, and ENCE are about to respond to another force by steal.
Yeah, Spinks, he just needs to hold, just waste as much time as possible. If he finds any more impact, any more kills than this is just going to be over completely. Spinks might even be able to get the quadro. No, not going to quite happen. Gets away with 3. Disturbed is now going to try and clutch, and there's CTs everywhere.
And he's thinking grab an AK, but at the wrong moment, that's when they swing back. D catches his frag. Oh, disaster. Oh, disaster there for HAVU. An instant return back from ENCE is part of things. The Pinnacle odds heavily favour them now, and for good reason in this series. Yes, they lost that first map, but it was close. The second one being one-sided, another map that could go just as one-sided as well. Do not blame them at all for having those numbers.
To be fair, though, we have seen some decent victories, at least for HAVU on this map, like dealing with Dignitas and K23, Endpoint, even through Lingby in an overtime result. So while the win rate isn't great, they have actually had some decent wins on this map over the course of the last couple of months or so. It all just comes down to can they deliver here in map 3 on the day. A bit of an aggressive Hades out towards that party position. May get caught off depending on how far forward he pushes.
Here's the footsteps, gets the kill. Easy pickings for the first. Almost a second, struggling a little bit with that kill, but does make it happen in the end. 4 versus 2. HAVU, pistols falling apart easy.
And just making sure that they don't get too silly in this 4v2. Don't need to get too overly aggressive. That's a nice shot coming through for Aerial. They've seen the comp player too.
A little bit of damage at the very least for the rifle now gained. But that might just be it, I imagine. 40 seconds. I'll try to find a quick play into that B site, which is undefended to be fair, so there's potential there.
Yeah, once they, like, if they just walk the rest of the way, we're going to start seeing a bit of a rotation down just in terms of the timings. And then if you start hearing the footsteps, well, the comp player's going to hear it. So either way, HAVU are now going to be running into B with Dotto with a bit of an off angle, actually playing outside of the edge of the railings in heaven.
Walking in. Galil watching. Gonna dive down here in those footsteps. Catches Disturbed. Sees the man. Can't quite get the kill out of the falling. But time at this stage, the bomb can't go down in time. 4 seconds. And Aerial falls. And to take that second back to the CT board.
Yeah, HAVU, no real chance for them to invest into much going in towards this eco now. Just clock it out. Allow very, very limited upgrades to flow through. And for ENCE, it's a 2-0 start or 2-1 start. At least it's a conversion. It's 2 rounds in a row. So we're not going to see any more force up.
Yep. Then we'll start again for the ENCE side. HAVU, good effort to try and bring that back to an expensive situation. So damage was done to the CT line, so the economy will not be fantastic. But obviously, nothing to punish with in this round. Maybe in the next one, if they can do damage especially. But Dia, SMG forcing forward to try and look towards that short pipe position and catch off some money to rebuild the economy here for ENCE. Out of the gate, they'll go towards Monster, and Dotto is there for the picks involved. 2 kills on X7 and Zori. And for A1S on the other side of Stappy, 3 kills in the end as Dia does get 1 good frag involved. With Dotto with a triple, and triple up for ENCE's scoreline. So, buyback for HAVU, let's see what they got.
I'd like to be able to see the rifles coming out relatively effectively when it comes to the opening contacts and the opening duels. I wonder if we'll see any kind of pace change again on Dust 2, especially on T side. We did see at times, well, for the majority of the time, really, it was quite slow, it was quite patient, but there were some quicker rounds, and we know that the B-pop, just rush out for a monster, can be one of those sort of moments, but I wonder, at what point are we going to see that from HAVU?
Well, in this round, default set in. Expecting there to be CT aggression in the case of X7. He's looking out towards that long entrance and is seeing nothing at the moment. Very carefully placed here for ENCE. Once again, back to that passive style that we saw so much of on Dust 2.
I do like this Bathroom's crossfire. The only downside to it is if they get smoked off at front Bathrooms, it means that Banana is very exposed and they don't have anyone on Ace. They're going to have to rely on one of the rotates. But it's an angle that you don't see CTs holding all too often.
Smokes on, Molotov's down, Hades watching, Spinks there to try and respond towards the man as he gets killed off. Then for A1S, very awkward on the spray. X7 gets a kill involved. Rotates coming in very, very quickly here for ENCE. One player is already on the site, but what can he do from the back of truck? Snappy watching the headshot angles, could get wide swung out towards APC. Teammates got to get hit, Slowly gets caught. Good frag on the first. Not quite the second aerial response towards it. Dia turns the SMG into a 3 versus 2. Bomb up close for him, but Disturbed gets a trade. Dotto left to clutch it. First frag found, so he's the second man back behind the default boxes. Swing back to the right as Disturbed looks to just chip away at the tag damage. He's got a HP advantage of them both, but the man advantage goes well and true to the favor of HAVU. Eventually, just too many angles to check. The kill comes forward as second to the board.
A really crucial double kill coming through for Disturbed in that one. And it all really just started off so wrong for ENCE, the way in which that crossfire in the Bathrooms just doesn't even find a kill. Doesn't even find anything. Bit sloppy for both Hades and for Spinks. And for Disturbed, a big way for maybe him to start creating some impact. Only got 19 kills in both Map 1 and Map 2. 0.58 rating on average so far in this series.
Ops in. Wrap around from Hades. Expecting to be Disturbed. Shoulder has been seen. And he actually baits in the shot thanks to his movements, so good start there for the man, but nothing else taken at the moment. It's passive control.
It's the exact same setup for ENCE that we saw in that last round. The dual crossfire out towards the long side of Bathrooms allows Banana to be very, very open. And the quickest player on rotation is going to be Hades with the AWP. But even for him, what information does he have to start rotating up to the A side?
Swing out. Good kill for Spinks. 7 caught. One player out towards Tree. Seen by Spinks. He's not quite ready to catch him, though. So, trade back to a 4 versus 4. The M4 Snappy can respond towards that. So, man advantage maintained by ENCE.
Oh, Hades saw the player up towards the Bathroom, so it's exactly where he is. Easy shot. Snappy just needs to be able to try and stay alive, just waste as much time. Zori gets the trade back, but him and Disturbed are going to work together.
Zori's on 9 points of health as well. 30 seconds. Hades watching to that long control. Smoke will go down to suppress him, so Focus on a different angle, and they might even go for a rotation. D is ready for this, though. He's still back over on the B side at Toxic Barrels to keep his head ducked down. Just try to deny the bomb plant here. 15 seconds for them to get up to that plant position. Smoke involved with the Disturb. The flashbang also at the ready. Siphon off that Heaven control, but again, it all waits on D just to catch him off at the right moment. 6 seconds, though. They're running the clock extremely low, and now it's over. Even Zori falls to the hands of the FAMAS. ENCE with 4.
And one of the whole aspects of HAVU's T-sides that we've seen over the course of this series that frustrated me the most, Jay, is just how low they run the clock, how slow they can be, the way in which they're executing out from short water and into the B side. They've literally got 4 seconds left. Like, that bomb has to go instantly down. They've got no chance of clearing out the bomb side, no chance of even gathering any information.
So sloppy here from HAVU. Burst fire spray through from Snappy. Do some damage through the connector door in the wallbang position. And Hades is ready with his AWP set. Great shot on Stowy. Completely blind for it. Still lands it.
He wants more, doesn't he? Needs to be careful about how aggressive he stays around, because there is a little bit of a bait play trying to see if they can uncheck that close left-hand side position.
We'll walk up towards that mid control. There's 3 CTs here to deal with it. They'll be keeping their eyes on long just in case, but Spinks, for that first contact, the AWP starts focusing in. A close flick right there towards the bathroom. Spinks does get his 2 kills involved. And Hades hands another good wallbang shot on towards Zori's head. So 1v4 for X7 in the bathrooms. Clean up rounds, easy. Rifles inbound for HAVU, 5-2 up for ENCE.
And I mean, this is me thinking quite a little while ago, but I remember Hades when he was playing on Vizsla, the 2 maps in the map pool where he was striking the most, he was having the most amount of impact, was Overpass and Train. Now, Train's no longer in here. Overpass still is. So seeing the way that he's, yeah, it's only 6 kills, it's only 4 deaths, but just the way that he's finding impact out on the A side, giving a lot of advantages forward in terms of the men up, and just slowing down the push is something that's really helping that A defense.
Boost up on the B defense for Hades, and he misses an all-important shot. Disturbed. Finds the opening kill, gets that AWP immediately out of play. A bit uncharacteristic for him in that respect, but slightly quicker for the AK.
Impressive there for Disturbed. As soon as an AWP misses a shot, you've got to capitalize, and he's able to do so. Get themselves a 5v4, even do some follow-up spam damage onto Dotto. There is a boost up in towards Connector. X7 is in pre-aiming the position out towards the right-hand side. He isn't. Spinks gets away with 1, needs to try and stay alive. Doesn't quite happen.
SMG held back. Snappy waiting for Aerial, and Aerial just swings him straight headshot. 2 players left now for ENCE. Both going to stack up the A side. I think it's going to be an A play, and they'd be right to assume so, but there's rotation potential for HAVU.
Orville battle could come out here from long, and for Dotto, if he just peeks into it without a flash, you'd have to expect he's a dead man, especially when Zori's holding the crack angle.
Yeah. He's got to hold down the mid control, because that's where they're going to be coming from. Now to signpost Artogress pretty far forward to this. This could start getting a bit risky, but ultimately I think you have to take risks here. Dotto around the corner. Sees Slowy. Great shot. Aerial there with a responsive trade. Now it's all on Dia. Back at Dumpster, thinking of the rotations. He's going to come up from Bank, I think. Just thinking about it. They go pretty far forward. Bomb on the back of Aerial. Disturb gets caught. Great shot. Great kill. 17 seconds left. Bomb plant heard. Now Dia knows where it is, but sorry, it's covering it off with the AWP. Damage was done by the AK, but not enough to get a kill. It's a 3rd for HAVU.
That was a round in which that maybe wasn't necessary to go in for the clutch. They're going to buy anyway going into the next. But HAVU, so far, all been individual rounds. At least in terms of the scoreline deficit, it's only a couple. But what the Finnish side really need to be able to achieve, especially in this sort of mid-segment of the first half, Jay, is consistency with follow-ups. They've got to be making sure that they are following 2, 3, 4 rounds in a row. They can't just rely on individual rounds.
Snappy. Jump facing, looking for information towards that short control. Still trying to boost up here, X7. And they can Lil up. They see that one player, but they're going to rest together alongside them. Dotto with 2 frags. Dia does fall in turn. That's a 2-for-1 trade that favors ENCE, though.
Jeez, they read that easily, didn't they? No sound cue, no nothing, just a single jump spot for Snappy, and they know exactly what's going on. Molly goes down, they're so ready for the boost up, and for HAVU, they just need a bit of a pick back. At least Slowy finds one.
Great shot on Dotto's head, a very tight angle to hit, and now they're going to focus on that grill player in Snappy, who's so far out in the open, so focused on that short control, not watching Monster at all. So HAVU have brought this back from the brink, a 3-on-2 situation. Now AWP up close here for Hades, back up towards the water control. Here's that bomb plant coming in. Can't really swing to deny it though. They'll try and do so, and indeed he gets that kill. Now back to a 2 versus 2 with Deagle closing in from short, but the T-side players will actually fall. Spinks turns it into a 1-on-1 now. Slowly planted behind some harder cover, gets back here, but Hades recovers. What a hold from those two. That should not have gone their way.
No, not at all. That looked to be a very, very well-played round for HAVU. The way in which they lose that first player up onto the boost, they answer back, they're able to catch off the short player from Slowy, aerial catches the in-game leader of Snappy repositioning out towards the site, but somehow Hades has got so much confidence to move forward in that 2 versus 3 deficit, look to try and deny that bomb from going down, and well, 68% in terms of the prediction tracker, they're predicting to just continue moving like this.
HAVU's individualistic rounds is not going to build up much in terms of the economy basis. The bomb plant bonus will help, but I think we're in for a half buy. Hero Galil half buy, actually. Aids in for D. A little bit off position. Would have been a bit mistimed, but either way, they're going to boost up the M4 to look into this. And Mac 10 for X7. Does see the man. Damage was done by D and knows that there's players out towards that short control. Zori's going to be ready for Dotto, but Dotto still lands the frag. Looks towards Monster. Swings back to the bomb carrier. Deals with him. 5 versus 3. One trade back from X7 short. Him and Disturbed trying to work in towards that short pipe angle. They do grab that bomb temporarily, but Dotto is repositioned further aggressive than they initially anticipated. And, well, Slowy, not much he can do here.
I don't know how you feel about that one, but for me, this just seems a little bit gimmicky and pucky at times for ENCE. And it's not that it's going to develop bad habits, but you can get away with it against a team like HAVU. But when you go deeper into the competition, going for plays like that, I just think you're going to get punished for. So I don't know if it's just in the moment sort of things, but having that kind of aggressive duels, just where you start taking a duel straight away out from Monster, especially when you're up against an eco, it's a bit unnecessary for me.
It did work out for the CT side of the end, so on the round together with the rifles back out. And again, HAVU did fall that by that Galil in on part of aerial, so he's rocking in Mac 10, which actually isn't the worst weapon to work with here. The CTs have a couple players that don't have head Kevlar. Very possible for him to hold his own here. Spinks in particular, that AWP out. Got to get that kill first and foremost. Remove that deadly weapon for play.
And not often that you see Spinks on the double AWP, but you see it from time to time. And for Zori, we see him just falling straight away. 3 kills and 10 deaths. He's their main AWPer.
Have an AWPer lagging behind the rest of the team and not really posting numbers. That's where things get really concerning for a lot of squads. Certainly, HAVU are no exception. Where do they go from here? Minute to the clock. You press into the mid control.
And they've got to flash these AWPers off angle. They can't just peek and dry. Otherwise, it's going to be easy pickings for Spinks and Hades.
Molotov to suppress T-side members at the helm. Spinks watching, waiting, and collecting. 2 kills to him in the mid position. Slowy gets that trade back, dropping that bomb. Of course, the CTs know where it is. And the other AWP of Hades held back here. They know that there was 2 AWPs in play. Where did that second man go? Smokes on to suppress. By a bit of breathing there towards the corner control. Snappy does get killed off. And Slowy also responds towards Dia. But the bomb plant seen to the shoulder. Slowy going to regress. And Hades lands the kill. A little bit of damage being done there towards the CT line. But no bomb plant means there's no punish buy.
And again, the AWPers are just getting faced in by dry peaks, aren't they? And yeah, you can shoulder bait an AWPer and try and bait him, or you can just wide swing and hope you get the lucky tap. But on a consistent basis, if they're not using their util to drive these AWPers back and allow the situations to be more uncomfortable, you're just going to keep getting picked off. And Spinks and Hades, they just proved it in that round there.
Nice sequence there from Spinks. You mentioned he doesn't really pick up the AWP all that often. And, well, I mean, it didn't really feel like it right there. He felt so comfortable in that mid position. Now Spinks moving comfortable into the aggression. The SMG against Disturb picks up the frag. That's as far as it goes, though.
It's actually funny that at this kind of a level, ENCE are one of the only teams that just don't double AWP very often at all. They don't have a double AWPer, like an hybrid player at all. Spinks are just farming money at this point. Just easy pickings coming through for the SMG.
Oh my god.
Give him an ace, why not?
The player's out underpass, and then no one playing up to that position. Bomb's been dropped in the mid control, though, so should be easy enough for Spinks to wrap back over at the end of the day. Maybe Snappy could hold off into this. He's got the M4 set. Be nice if Spinks could get the $3,000 on a kill bonus. And the Deagle throws up a bit of a fight, but doesn't hold on to his life. So Spinks, very well done for him. And we talk about the MAC-10 being laser beam. MP9 can do the exact same thing, it feels like. Especially in that particular round. 9-3, ENCE continuing to dominate HAVU.
It doesn't even look close, does it? It's almost like we're watching Nuke, but just the whole dynamic is slightly different in the way that they're playing. But in terms of the success and the confidence, nothing's changed at all. HAVU just getting slapped about. ENCE up to 9. And I could see it being, what, 11 rounds? I don't know if they could go 12-3. I reckon HAVU at least get 1.
I mean, I don't know. Zori picking up Hades, at least looking like a positive entity for this particular round. This could be that one indeed. D had tagged up pretty heavy, but X7 burns the Dotto's Molotov. Disturbed, wrapping the corner. 2 players to find here at the Cub B, and gets them both. Wraps in from the short control, however, for the part of Snappy. Waiting for that bomb plant to be conceded. We'll go for a safe plant behind the pillar, so that way you can't deny it at the default position. How do he and Spinks play out this retake? Well, Spinks might not be playing it at all. Aerial seeing them rotating back. Snappy still sticks around here at short.
Probably holding on to the weapons is the best bet, or at least continue to try and follow up damage. Only gets away with 1. Spinks just trying to spam through the heaven smoke. Gotta be careful, mate. Don't just run through that because it's not going to happen at all. Just hold on to the M4, bring it into the next round. And I tell you, Jay, Mind Reader. I knew they'd get another one.
Caster's blessing? Is that what you call it? I mean, when you say Caster's curse, when you say something it doesn't happen,
it's the opposite.
It happens. Yeah. Caster's blessing. Do I get approved? 2 rounds still left to play for in this half, so ENCE still have a potential of going towards the 11-4, which I think is what you said would be the likely scoreline, right? So, very possible at this stage, and the CT side did do a number on HAVU's own economy state, but not by a massive amount.
That was a nice swing coming out for Disturb, just being able to go out wide, know that you got to clear out the angle, and CTs are grouped up. They're already low. Tactical timeout coming through from HAVU. I respect it.
I mean, can't let ENCE get to that 11 if possible. You kind of need as many rounds as you can possibly get at this stage.
Yep.
A moment to remind you all that if you know your stuffs, you can head over to pinnacle.com/odds and find the latest in-play offerings for this matchup and for the matches tomorrow as well in the quarterfinals, which I think, honestly, those games could be very interesting. So place your bets now while you have the chance, because that one, some of those games could be fun.
Yeah, thoughts, Jay, on the banger match of tomorrow?
I want to say Sinners and Copenhagen Flames initially.
Really?
Just because they are so evenly stanced up, but there are some big potential ones. I'd say Spirit Fiend could also be fun as well.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at, mate.
Yeah. Honorable mention to Sinners Copenhagen Flames. that one starts the day off tomorrow, so get a nice bright and early to see that one, because I don't want to miss much of the action left for Pinnacle Cup. We've only got a few more games to go in the final few days. ENCE taking losing plays against the HAVU side. Dotto on 25 points of health thanks to the initial contact. Face tag up heavy against the Mad, and now he's dead.
That's just a straight wallbang actually coming through from X7 outside of Monster onto that short position. So gets very, very lucky with the spam. Dotto falling 5-on-4 advantage, and now a little bit more of an emphasis of regrouping, taking some of this bathrooms control. There is a player close to Divider with the AWP watching.
And he's set and ready, flashes over. Spinks seeing one, tries to transfer that play to the second man, but unable to do so. Slowly can't get a responsive, so HAVU in a 4-on-3 advantage.
There is information being given up, so Hades can start bringing players back on rotation. This could be a bit of a gamble stack at some point for ENCE. 40 seconds left on the clock. HAVU, they are going to show some emphasis out towards the B side, but I reckon this is just a fake at B.
Dia's going to jump face, see what's going on. Goosh down slowly to 9 points of health. Not quite killing him off just yet, though. Still the man advantage for HAVU, but 20 seconds. Again, they have run the timer so low here, but they've left Snappy all alone to defend the site. Looking back, going to get that kill on Slowy. Now got to deal with Disturb. Flash against the man. He just holds on to the pickbacks. They do hold on to control with Disturb the next 7 chiming in on the A site. And it will be a 5th for HAVU.
That's something we don't see enough of, if I'm going to be honest, on T-side Overpass, is like the late X's with a late lurk elsewhere on the map. I really liked that that whole setup for HAVU. Yeah, you do run a little bit of a risk of running into the B player with time that is slightly limited, but just the way in which they send it in towards the B site, they've got that single individual up on A, just to be able to deal with the rotations, make it a little bit easier for some impact to really be found. And for ENCE, in terms of money, well, they don't have a lot of it going into round 15.
Yeah, forcing back with Deagles in tow. This does not look amazing. Considering how good they've been so far in this half, you would have thought they would have done, but no.
Hello.
Deagle out for Dotto, caught off on Slowy's part on the ladder. Thinking to go upstairs, but had he held his position, he might have been able to get that opening kill. Instead, Dia falls first in the monster smoke.
And just a tip at home, never try and take any kind of shots if you're standing on a ladder, because it will just not go where you're aiming. So, bit of a situation there where it could have been better if it was underneath, but timing and everything, 5-on-3 advantage. Dotto could sneak up and potentially drop the bomb, but no, not going to happen.
And then from a caster's blessing to a caster's curse. Immediately, as soon as you start talking about him dropping the bomb, not going to happen at all, and the kill coming in. The Stappy leaves it all to Hades, 1 versus 5. Lone player standing for the CT side. It would be a miracle of a clutch if he made it happen, and for that reason, I feel like this one is going to be done and dusted for the half 6 to the board of HAVU ENCE. Still hold the lead, but honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot more confident here, Dwayne.
Yeah, I did too. HAVU really showed up towards the back end here at the T side. Nice utility usage just to slow down Hades. Gonna make it so much more difficult for him to really find anything on this clutch, but 1v5 is not gonna happen at all. HAVU, I will say, the last 3-4 rounds or so, I've been well impressed with them.
All those flashbangs at the right timings here for the T side line, and in the end, yeah. HAVU did start to bring it back, so credit to them, because I had them written off at the start of the map up, and they are still holding some contest here going into the CT side. And I mean, arguably the CT side is where a team like HAVU could shine the most, but it's not by a massive margin. Is ENCE's weakness is going to be the main exploitation point for the Finns?
It's all about confidence for me. If HAVU really want to try and bring this back, getting off to a start with pistol, being able to get in the face of your opposition, and, well, not really much faith being given there. Maybe it might change ever so slightly when we get a little bit deeper into the second half, but for the most part, all eyes on ENCE here.
85% win percentage according to the Pinnacle Cup map winner predictions tracker. Quite a mouthful, I'm not gonna lie.
I reckon it's just JE pressing buttons. That's what's changing it all.
I can assure you, I have no control over this chart. I wouldn't even know where to begin with a chart. Like,
yeah, imagine you doing the percentages round by round. I mean, we could give it a crack. I reckon. All right. Oh, no, I don't think it would go that well, to be honest.
Yeah, it really wouldn't. Like,
yeah.
I love the notion, Dwayne. I love the suggestion, but quite honestly, I feel like that as soon as Pinnacle see what odds I put up for these matches, they probably fire me in an instant. So
he's gone.
I'm just out of the office immediately. A small tech pause here before we start with the second half. We'll, according to the logs, I'm being told, X7 cut his finger on his keyboard.
Oh no!
How do you do that? Is what I want to know. Like,
no, there's some sharp
sharpened your key. What is it? Sharpen the keycaps or something? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, no, I could see it happening. There are some sharp corners, and if you're not careful, you may be reaching over to get a bottle of water or something. It could happen.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. CSGO, truly a dangerous game. Don't try this at home. Right, pistol. Util set for Hades and Snappy. Double flash and smoke for Hades. Smoke Molotov for Snappy. Utility for X7 as well with the full set, and Disturb with a double flash defuse set in for the defensive line. ENCE playing initially into Monster. They want to go towards the B play.
Slowy's got to try and gather this information as quickly as possible and relay it over to his teammates so they can come quite quickly out from Condor and into short water. But even with the play, now the footsteps are going to be heard.
Smokes down at the short suppression player being seen by Spinks. He can't quite get the kill. Out of heaven. Will also be smoked off. Slowy opens up the half bit, gets the kill in. Ariel going to try and follow suit and does get one frag with his own right, but X7 behind him in the smoke will tap through into Dotto's rough positioning, dropping the bomb and dropping us to a 3 versus 2. Disturbed takes fight, and so does Zori. Out to the short pipe. Snappy will fall, and so will Hades. And HAVU, I mean, for a team that's got such a low pistol conversion ratio in the tournament, they're doing pretty good with pistols in this series.
Honestly, they really are. The one downside they're having is they're not winning a lot of the conversions. Like, we're going back and forth a fair bit with the anti-force fires. But you are right. In terms of actual pistol round win percentage, they must have just skyrocketed after this best of 3.
HAVU, all-important win for them. Can they turn it into a conversion, though? And that's been the main sort of issue for them. We saw in the last half how they won the pistol, and then ENCE were able to force the issue right back. These Deagles, this Tech 9. Very possible for them to win this out.
Just being able to clear out connector with a couple of nades. Try and get those Deagles up close and personal. Spinks in particular is probably one of the best players that that ENCE have in these kind of rounds when he's got the pistols in his hands. Someone's going to have to go back and get that bomb that's dropped out towards that T-cold position. But for the most part of HAVU, they are proper deep in the bomb sites. No one is making any aggressive moves. Jeez, look at that. We've never seen a round in which a 4v5 has been converted.
All down to the first kills. Who's going to find it? X7. Jump facing to look out towards that monster position. Smoke down. Dotso. Deagle finds that first pick. The round's basically won right here. Or is it? Disturbed. SMG picks up a frag back to a 4 versus 3. Eagles trying to fight back out of here towards the backline position, and Ariel deals another good frag. Spinks can chime in, knows exactly where Slowy is. Tech 9 wraps the corner, and it looks like for the first time, maybe we might actually not get the first pick to lead to the round win. Spinks hearing both sides of footsteps, though. He's going to try his hand at it, but doesn't get past Disturbed. So, HAVU hold their own. Quadra for Disturbed at that one, but damage done in heavy amounts.
But how is Disturbed the top fragger here for HAVU? He's done well in this map, but this is a coach standing in. 16 kills, a quadra, a clutch. That's a massive round for him.
Credit where it's due, because sometimes he has had some really lights out games, and I'm so surprised that that's ended up being the case, because again, he's just a coach, a manager. Somehow, he's coming up good here for HAVU. Had to drop that meme in somewhere at some point. Dia finds the frag on Slowy, and Zori gets his kill involved. SMG does get dealt with by Spinks in the end. The Manic sprays of the AK. Not good here for ENCE.
What am I supposed to do, man? He's a coach. Yeah, no, it just keeps going on. But so does this round. ENCE, as soon as they get the rifles forward, look at really what's been able to change. Disturbed being able to try and clutch once again. And even for ENCE, they didn't get a bomb plant in that last round, but they did sort of take 4 players with them. They think, okay, let's force again. And for HAVU, Disturbed's just got to save. There's nothing that he can do.
Yeah, as great as the managers are, this is pretty much off the table for him. Fuse kit in with a little bit extra utility as well to work with. So there is a basis to work from going into the next gun by ENCE, knowing, however, that they have done so much damage in the previous... no, Disturbed. Caught off by Dotto, there he falls. And that leaves nothing to hold into the next round. And as I mentioned before, ENCE have done so much damage, they know this was a reset potential round, and that's exactly what they'll get out of this. 10-8. Getting their first to the T side, and first of many, I'd imagine, on the T side.
Yeah, double eco status. This is not a very good position, economy-wise, at all for HAVU to be in. You win pistol, you win the anti-force, but you don't win the next force up. And you do get that from time to time for the T side. If they are getting the bomb plants, they're keeping the rounds competitive. Just with the loss bonus, they just keep buying, don't they? And eventually, you're going to get to a state in which you just have to eco on T side, or you just reset your opposition, and then you set yourself up. Dodo spotting out the boost, or at least hearing it, but X7, Dodo, both taking some damage.
X7 coming out worse than that one, though. 40 HP versus Dotto 68. With that SMG holding together with the upgrade pistols involved for HAVU. Trying to jump face for X7, look for information. He's spotted nothing of the T side, though. No info gained to Dotto, but he's the only player that's here on the short control.
Oh, they're going to aggress him. Oh, they've got no util, though. They've got no flash, nothing.
Kill found. Double up. Triple kill for Dotto. Oh, baby. HAVU left out of this round to be dealt with immediately. And, yeah, this is falling apart now for the CT side. ENCE should have the B play. And, of course, they have the site itself, the bomb plant. And there's no retake on for Aerial X7 here. They've just got to hold on to what they have.
A nice shot coming through for Hades. Aerial's now the last one. They could just get completely mobbed up here and have absolutely nothing to save into the next. Hades, can he deal with the SMG? Oh, of course he can. Dodo's a bit of an interesting one because I had the feeling that when he was playing on ENCE with the Finnish team, he was nowhere near as impactful as he is now with the international team. Whether that just comes down to the teams they're playing, I mean, that's something to always think about, some context in the matter. They were playing tier 1 opposition, where now they've gone down sort of the divisions. But maybe just in terms of confidence and composure, being able to play at that sort of higher level, then going down towards tier 2, it seems like he's a little bit more of an impact role player than where he maybe was before, a little bit earlier in his career.
Mac 10's in on Snappy. Boost up on the triple man here for the pistol basis. Snappy's going to get those 2 kills in. They've already just missed their window to get anything out of this. They'll see him jumping out towards the B site, but SMG's throughout the corner. Dotto sees what's going on and does get caught off by it. 3-man crossfire. And now an MP9 to play with, but Nays and suppression involved, and maybe the Mac 10 could get an ace in this. No, Hades steals it away, but Dia and they clean up the rest of it, so they can grab the main rifles and keep those in play. 12-8. ENCE now so close to getting their victory row. So close to being within the series win itself. HAVU have a buyback, though. This will be their last chance to deny that much, at least.
And I'm just begging for some Zori. Just bang out, mate. We know the heights that this guy can have. And to be fair, he hasn't had the AWP in his hands a massive amount on Overpass so far, but still 6 kills going down. He's really got to show the impact now.
You think about Dust 2, when he had the AWP, he didn't even have the AWP in hand a lot of the time. He himself just took Tech 9s and M4s into clutches and still made them work. This map is 6 kills deep. Bottom fragger for HAVU. As you mentioned before, the AWP as well, not having any impact. That's never, ever a good sign. The CT and T sides, HAVU have done well despite that limitation, but it's the one thing that's holding the back of this stage. Zori set towards the A site defense, got to look towards long soon because that's where the T's are playing from.
Well, this could be the start, especially if they start a bit of a contact. Jump spotting out from APC. Hades knows exactly where he is. Does bait out the first shot.
Molotov's in, however, across the entire site. The drive slowly away, and Zori does get his kill back in and double up. Okay. Here's the Zori you wanted to see. Dia getting tagged up to 36 as well with counter incendiaries back at the CT forces. Allows an easy kill for Aerial to come back. 2 left standing. AK round the corner for Snappy. Hoping he can see something of the CT side, but so far so little has been gained. Spoke to buy some cover, and he does get caught by Aerial in the end. 1 versus 5 for Hades. Gotta go 1 better than Zori himself. He knows he's not got anything in this round. Throw the AWP away. Concede 9 to HAVU.
It's a smart call. Both teams don't really double AWP, but don't give them a free one because they're just going to use it. They'll probably chuck it over to someone like Slowy. So it's knowing 1v5, it's not going to happen at all. And they only recover 1 AK there for HAVU. Considering no one fell, you'd be a bit surprised that they didn't get more rifles out of that.
Kills are pretty far away from the site itself, so I guess they...
Yeah, that's why.
Might have been, and I guess the ones out towards long control probably were shot out of the railings because they were so focused on that orb, they didn't get any AKs. So, not terrible for HAVU, and not terrible for Disturbed, who sprays back on Dotto, initially looking for the blind fire fate, but the Tracer's giving up his position, allowing the first kills to come through.
Yeah, Spinks just waiting for a bit of a shoulder bait. Honestly, anything towards the back end of Condor, but it does seem that everyone's just outside of Monster. There is an aggressive Disturbed on the other side of it.
Making some damage to return back at the T-side line, as Slowy gets Spinks on the boost up, I think. Looking into that connector control and a 5-on-3 gained. HAVU. Everything to play for, and here comes the hit. Dia out of the gate, sees Disturbed, finally ends up the top fragger. Slowy can still turn around with 2 picks back to his name though, and Stappy left alone with the bomb on his back in a 1v4 clutch scenario. How does he isolate this? How does he play this one?
Well, 1v4, and just hope that the frags just keep coming to him, hope that the fights just keep getting swung out, but really for HAVU, they don't need to keep committing, they're going to swing out wide. Slowy's going to find a massive 4K in that round overall, and for ENCE, you've got to start getting to a point now saying, all right, guys, like what is going on here? They look like they were easily going to get to double digits in the first half. They're up, they've got a lead, but it's not by much.
You say about discussing in the ENCE camp, and well, they'll take a tactical timeout to do just that. Their first tactical in this map. And I guess now's the right time to do so. Like you mentioned before, this was looking so easy for them. And what else is easy is paying with Trusty. You can choose Trusty to make your payments flow quickly from account to account. No cards, no app download, no registration. Try making payments with Trustly over at pinnacle.com/odds. How much trust do they have in the camps of the ENCE side? They are still up on top, but for how long, Dwayne?
Yes, that is the very important question, and I don't know. I'm getting worried here for ENCE because while it looks okay, it does look a bit average at times. Knowing how Map 2 went and knowing just Overpass in general, this should have been ENCE just flooring them, just absolutely smashing them to the back of the wall, and instead that hasn't been the ENCE that we've seen.
Set in. Lorps out for both sides. ENCE hoping that Dia can do some damage with his, taking it off of Hades. Going out towards the mid-control with the majority of the T-side forces. That one lurker out in the boost AWP. Tries to look over into the long control. Can't see the man at the boost spot because there's nobody there. Again, no one's holding long here for HAVU.
I can't remember the last time someone was boosted up on that long position. Just don't see it anymore, do you? You sometimes get them sort of aggressive out from rock or towards that left-hand side of it, but in terms of the boost up, it's a rarity. Dia just trying to see if he can walk up Flong, see if he can find something, but for the most part, HAVU, they've made a right call here. They've stacked 3 on A.
Zori's ready. AK around the corner, the boost up. Oh, what a sequence. What a sequence from Zori and Aerial. Hades trying to chime back in, though. Almost gets Slowy as well. Flashed out, blinded, gets that secondary kill. One more player out towards long. They know their bomb's been dropped out there. They've got to win this fight, and indeed Spinks can. So back to the favor of ENCE will go. But 20 seconds, they've got to commit to A.
Rotations have come in really quickly, but Hades is still trying to see if he can find anything down onto the site. X7 gets away with one. They've got to try and slow this down.
Now it's down to a 1v2. Disturbed. Oh, he burns Spinks. 5 seconds. Dotto's got to go for the plant right now. He just gets it in, but now it's going to stall for time. Disturbed can make his way up closer. The AK loses the fight. What a hold from Disturbed. Veterancy and skill, they all combine in this one man. And it gets HAVU to 11.
He's done it again. How has he done it again? Another great clutch coming through for Disturbed, and that round had so many up and downs. We saw the way in which the early 5-on-4 comes out for the long contact. Hades gets a couple of kills on the side. They've now got a 3-on-2 advantage up for ENCE, and it looks like everything going together. And Disturbed and X7 work in that negative, and what a clutch comes through in that 1v2. The molly to deal with Spinks, the last player at Dotto. Oh, that whole round.
It started with that amazing sequence of the thing that disturbed. Not as much as he has in this one. Like, we talk a lot about how HAVU can hit pretty decent highs on the individuals that are part of the main roster. We have been remiss to mention Disturbed here. 20 kills. He's top fragging for HAVU, and HAVU are hanging into it. So I think in most part, thanks to his efforts. I mean, there's other players involved in this, sure, but ENCE should have closed this out long ago. 12 to 11. We're within one of the lead. Half by for the T side. Now looking to commit towards the B play.
He's definitely keeping him in the game. Spam could come through out towards Monster. How much can he get away with it? Just so much damage, and even deals with Spinks.
A last bullet at that magazine on that spray. The attack to 40 as well. Could have dropped the bomb. But doesn't at this moment in time. A 5-on-4 advantage. HAVU mapping forward as the Tech9 moves up. Just around the corner, looks to look onto the site, sees the man upstairs. There's Aerial with 2 picks. 2 left, 1 left, none left. 2 points of damage done to the CT side. HAVU now even against ENCE with a buy up for the T side line. And the odds at Pinnacle now dead set even.
Yeah, HAVU is starting to swing their way a little bit, and well, they're showing some class here. Again, you have a look at their track record, and they're, what, 1 from 8 in their last officials here on Overpass. They have not had a massive amount of wins recently, but they are bringing this back. And for ENCE, they'll get the rifles out, but even for HAVU, they've got so much money in the reserve to work with.
Aggressive, they're going to get. Dotto does find the first kill on Slowy, at least, but Disturbed trades it. Again, getting involved to add up to his kill tally. 23 deep, 24 deep. You just can't stop him. Flashes over at the monster position, the incendiary back to try to buy a bit of cover. Sees that one man as well as a 2-for-1 that favors HAVU's advantage.
He's without a doubt having one of the biggest maps I've seen from him since standing in with this team, up against a top 30 team in the world. ENCE maybe looking for a little bit too much there. That gets it back to a 3-on-3.
X7 still fighting, lines up 2 and makes it a triple. And ENCE are just falling apart. 13-12, HAVU now in the lead. ENCE, what's happened here, boys? 3 rounds on T side. And now 5 on the trot for the CTs. This was yours to take. And now HAVU could steal this whole series away.
This is insane. This really is to think that the chance of an upset is here for HAVU. ENCE do not have a lot to work with. We might see something quick again out towards the B site, but they need a bomb plant. They've got to try and take some of these rifles out. Just limit the economy.
Nade stacks in against Slowy, gets that kill. ENCE at last, find the advantage before they even take the execution contact. Dotto credited with the kill. Spinks Tech9 turns into a frag. X7 trying to deal with them all, gets a couple of kills involved, but only a couple of kills. M4 swings back over towards the short control though, drops the bomb carrier, and the plant is denied. 2v2 now. ENCE have a couple of rifles to play with.
Oh, do they boost up towards heaven? This might be able to deal with Zori.
It's the bomb on the back of Spinks though. Zori does fall back out with the AWP into the backer bank. Both entries covered off by the big green. AK. Got to bait him in somehow. Got to try and see if they can get the shot to return. Oh, passive angle taken. Dotto caught on the shot. Now Spinks. All that remains. AK out. Gets it to a 1v1. Plants down. Forces Aerial to go for the retake.
He's got full nade sets, and for Spinks, where does he reposition himself to? Wants to go out to long.
AK wrapping M4 looking forward. 34 points of health versus the 100 of Aerial. He's got a full set of util as well. Spinks, only a smoke. Slow walking, no info given up. Aerial going to check all the way out towards long. Back to turn. Spinks looks towards it and loses the fight. Aerial will get this defuse. 14 to the board of the CT side. They have really brought this back now, Dweg. And for HAVU, one of the things that's been consistent over their, over their year has always been the discussion of we have to beat ENCE. We have to beat ENCE. Yes, they're an international squad, but the Finnish organization always to us in Finland is important. And this could be their moment to do it. Tactical timeout taken by ENCE. And look at that dive on the chart. Straight from the favor of ENCE. Now 74% win percent up chance for HAVU.
So what's that? At the end of like round 20, it was up to 95% or so, and it is just dived. It has gone so far in favor of the HAVU side now. Oh my goodness. HAVU, like their clutches have been great. We've seen maybe 3 or 4 clutches so far from him, or from them out on Overpass. Some of the kill counts still sort of, I mean, a lot of these are honestly favoring ENCE in the majority of the situations, but it's just been HAVU on map 3. It's just, it's what it's been of them on the comeback.
I don't know who's making the calls in this team, whether it's Disturbed, of course, taking over the role, or what's going on that's been able to muster this up, but it has come in at such an important time and such a crucial moment for them. 14-12, ENCE. Sprays through, back and forth. Dotto doing damage to X7, does return back on that short presence. That's it, though.
Zori doesn't get baited out from the long position, so they don't really have an idea of where the AWP is playing out from. ENCE just looking at widespread at default, trying to hope that they can just gather a little bit of information. There is a player in Con for the CT side. Haven't really seen players in Con all that often.
Opposite out towards that long control for Zori. Smoke. Pressing back towards that long presence and flashing over towards mid. Aerial waiting for Dia. Catches off the frag, kicks things off for HAVU again.
ENCE have got to make a decision. Is it a fake A and bring the bomb out towards B? They're getting closer to 35 seconds left on the clock, and they are so split.
Thought that junk face was given up for Hades, but no. And you're right, this is probably going to be a fake call, I say. These 2 players out towards once, they've got to commit towards the B side. They have not got time to rotate anymore. This is all a ruse, and it's baited everyone. ENCE have got to walk straight into the B site now. They cannot afford to waste time. 17 seconds, Dotto is walking. And now they can back off. They'll just leave Snappy to hold down the A site. Rotations being called in now. There's a player up in heaven already, though. Dotto been seen, but he adjusts and gets it back to evens, but not for long. Disturbed chimes back in, sprays through the box. Only 1 man left of the T side on the site itself, and Slowy presses the issue. Sees Spinks at last, gets it to a 3-on-2, but a backstab from Snappy. The AWP Hades caught back in the M4, burst fire in. Zori deals with Snappy, and now Hades with it all to do, and he gets pulled to the underworld for a 15th for HAVU, and match point for the Finnish squad.
Unbelievable. Incredible. They got baited. They got baited so hard on that over-rotate, but they recovered, Jay. They come back in. They realize that they've been faked. They realize the information, and this streak just keeps going and going and going. 7 rounds in a row now for HAVU. 1 away to making the quarterfinals.
And we didn't see this coming. We had ENCE all day. Maybe give up dust 2, then that nuke came in at 16-2. HAVU about to 16-12, ENCE out of the playoffs. And again, what an effort it has been. It has not been an easy series. It has not looked like a simple affair. This has been a grind back from the worst possible position and straight into match point. Can they find the closer now?
Zori just trying to prod, just get at least a little bit of a contact, a bit of a duel out from the aggressive bathrooms, but he wants to fall back, group up with his teammate of Aerial. Slowly jump spotting out from short water, has not seen anything either.
60 seconds. Slowly rounding this corner for the big green. Zori set with the up down into Divider. Tight angle at Divider itself. Ace in, flash over, X7 looking on. Nades inbound, incendiaries out. They've seen Snappy. They've tagged him up. 40 seconds. ENCE got to make a move.
And they're running out of time, and there's still more util to come through for the CT side. They're going to have another flash out to Monster.
Nice fire. X7 looking onwards here. Disturbed backed up. Spinks gets the kill. Responds by Disturbed again. 2k up for the man. And Dia gets it straight. Looks back to the back line. Deals with Slowey next up. The M4 of Aerial forcing forward. And Zori now with it all to do. Bomb plant will be secured. Considering the save call, but a 1v3 clutch. Does he have it in him to go for this?
Wants to just back off. Realizes, look, the money's actually not that great. We could buy next round, but what about round 30? I don't want to risk nearly $5,000 for this orb of just chucking it away. And ENCE, cracking entries to come in from Dia in particular, just opening up that bomb side. Disturbed held for as long as possible, but it was the kill onto Disturbed and then the follow-up towards the left side graffiti that was so quick from Dia, and that just allowed the bomb side to be taken.
Yeah, he was the round winner for me. That second kill, not easy to hit. Transition to adjust and everything. And ENCE, 1 out of 3 rounds that they need to bring us to OT. Are we in for a long evening, Dweg? That's the question I pose to you.
I don't think so. ENCE have got a very, very capable squad, but just seeing the way that these last handful of rounds have been played, HAVU should be able to close. They should be able to close without letting it to get to OT. And just looking at the whole situation, I don't think anyone would have seen it coming, especially during the game itself when we had such a one-sided first half, when everything looked so capable, when everything looked so comfortable. Everything was pointing in the way of ENCE, but HAVU, they have really surprised here.
Us above all else. Some really big performances shown, not just by Disturb, but also by Aerial, also by X7. Yes, Zori's lagging behind, but they don't need him right now. ENCE, however, found that last round. They've still got it in them. Boost up on towards the sandbags, looking over into the monster control. Did they spot the man? They did. They don't get a chance to get a kill.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? No one's just staying around. Everyone just falling back. Dotto is super passive, so while it was a really great idea to go in for that boost, it hasn't found any success. The only thing is information.
Burst fire. Made blind. Careful placements. Zori looks for that opening frag on Spinks. Can't see him down towards underpass though. 60 seconds left to the clock.
Oh, the timing is so perfect there for Zori. He catches off one, and now Aerial's here in the footsteps.
Gets Dia next up. 2 frags. Hades trades it back. 4 versus 3. HAVU having control back the Molotovs involved. The M4 swing sees the Orpa, drops in the same. 2 left, but Snappy responds in kind. 30 seconds. Look at the backstab for Slowey though. Does Dotto read it? Does he go back through T-Kondo? He goes through underpass. That might be a bit of breathing room.
Oh, do they fake A? If they go back towards Con into the B side, they could walk straight into the hands of Slowey.
Burst through. Seeing that man, Snappy starts to walk up. 15 seconds left to the clock. The Orb and Disturbed on the crossfire. Looking back for them. Bomb plant can't be denied right here. Swing on the man. Dotto gets the kill, but they force him off. Snappy in the open. That's done. Zori secured it. 16-13. He might not have been their man, but he was in that moment, and that's enough for HAVU.
Oh my goodness, what a best of 3 result to come through for the Finnish side to defeat the 23rd best team in the world of ENCE. That is one hell of an upset and one that no one would have seen coming.
I am a little bit disappointed with how things played out there for the ENCE side, just because of the nature of how much that comeback had got to come through. Like, that sucks so much for them, knowing that they had so much potential behind them to close out that series, but ultimately couldn't quite do so. HAVU with a monstrous comeback. What an unbelievable series from them.
Yeah, it was. And if you are going to be negative, you have to be negative towards ENCE. That's a hard choke. Like, they have got a very, very big lead to work with, and they can't close. And for HAVU, it seemed like once they got the AWP going for Zori, he started finding some impact. Ariel was really finding some form, but Disturbed, those comeback rounds, he was getting multi-kills, what felt like so consistently.
Absolutely. And I'm so stunned because there's the joke. He's a coach, he's a manager, you know, like how? How does he do this? How did he pull that off is the question I ask myself, because HAVU shouldn't have won this series after a 16-2 on Nuke, after a hell of a start for ENCE on the third map. Not going to happen. They move forward to take on Endpoint, and I guess we'll have to wait for the Endpoint ENCE rematch for another day, because that one's always fun. But HAVU want their crack at the Brits, and at this stage, I think they probably earned it.
Yeah, you're probably right. For ENCE, that's probably the most disappointing tournament run we've seen from them since adding Hades into the lineup. For them to go 9th to 12th, to lose to HAVU, but you've got to give a lot of respect and a lot of credit up to the Finnish side, because they didn't give up, even when it felt like they were out of it, even when it felt like this game was already over. They performed, and, well, they've made their way into the quarters. And to update you on some of the other ones as well, Spirit and Fiend, Forza and Skade, the two invitees of the CIS teams.
Absolutely, and of course the two qualifiers of the Bulgarians, Skade and Fiend, definitely looking for their chance to rematch each other and prove definitively once again, add another sort of addition to the story and the chapter of the two Bulgarian squads. I mean, definitely that lower bracket, not lower bracket, but that like lower portion of the semi-finals could look very interesting depending on how things result. I think, again, to highlight the matches of the day tomorrow, honorable mention goes towards Sinners and Copenhagen Flames, but I'm looking forward to that Spirit versus Fiend game. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you've got two very experienced teams, or at least experienced players in the like of Fiend, Spirit. They've played at a tier 1 level. We know that they've dropped down to a couple of the lower divs. We know that they played in Pinnacle Cup for the first event. They didn't really do all that well there. They got knocked out in the quarterfinals, or in the semifinals, I should say. So for them, looking to try and bounce back, because when you look at the whole competition, they are probably one of the favorites to win the whole event.
Yeah, I'd say so too. I'd say there's a lot of potential in terms of how the whole bracket could play out, though, because there's some serious opportunities, I think, involved for a lot of the underdog teams to come forward and do some damage in the quarterfinal matches. So the only real way that you can find out how well things will go is to tune in tomorrow at the same time, the same place at 10 p.m. CEST. We start off with Sinners and Copenhagen Flames, of course. Every match shown here on twitch.tv/TebTV. So it's a lot of fun to come here, Dwayne. If you had to give a prediction for all the matches tomorrow, where would you go?
Goodness me, mate. All right, hang on. Let me bring them up. Okay, so the first one, Spirit Fiend. I reckon that's 2-1. I reckon we go the distance there. Endpoint, HAVU, I reckon 2-0 for the Brits. Sinners, Copenhagen Flames, I reckon that could go 3. I reckon I'll give the Czech side 2-1 there. And then Forza Skade. Yeah, I reckon that's going 3 maps too. I'd give the edge to Forza, but I reckon we've got a lot of maps or a lot of series that probably do go 3 maps, honestly.
Well, plenty of Counter-Strike action for you to take a look at here tomorrow during the Pinnacle Cup II, but until that point, we have to bid you adieu, because that is the end of our day. The round of 12 completed, and now we go towards our invitees, our final few squads, to see who is going to be champions of the Pinnacle Cup. But until that time, we're going to send you off and see you back here tomorrow for even more action. Until that point, I've been the Eternal J. My co-commentator has been Dwayne, and on behalf of ourselves and the production staff and Anne's behind the scenes, I want to thank you all so much for watching and for listening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Pinnacle Cup.